faster than most other places you'll visit. Nothing changed that theory last night in Queens. The speed of the game was at a high pace, while the offense and defense matched each other's intensity. The tempo was running so swiftly that 2 extra innings were needed. In the end, it was the Phillies on the fast track to another win. Another very big divisional win. Choke up. Game 3 swings your way next. What a way to spend the week in New York City as the Mets and the Phillies get together for the final game of this 3-game series, and we'll see if it's as entertaining as the last 2. Hi, everybody. I'm Tom McCarthy, along with Chris Wheeler. Sarge will be along in just a little bit. Well, last night's game was no doubt very entertaining for the Phillies' wheels because they wound up winning it in extra innings. And Chase Utley again was the guy that the Phillies leaned on for the victory.
Well, these games have been good, Tom. The first game was good. Last night was better, of course, as you say, because the Phillies won the game. Chase Utley, big-time player, come to New York. Big things happen when you come to the Big Apple. Remember a couple of years ago, Feliciano threw him a rare fastball. He hasn't seen many of them since. He hit it out. That was a game-winning home run as Ryan Howard congratulated Chase. Then last night off this hard-throwing right-hander, Bobby Parnell, he ran a fastball over the middle of the plate, and this thing took a quick ride into the seats in right field, and that would turn out to be the game-winning run as the Phillies came back and won that game after the Mets stranded a lot of base runners. Chase has been really good on an excellent road trip for the Phillies. In 9 games, you see what he's hit. He's on base a lot. His on-base percentage is tremendous because this guy walks a lot, scores a lot of runs. Of course, he doesn't mean it, but he gets hit by a lot of pitches.
And he's got 4 of the Phillies' 10 home runs so far this year against the Mets. Well, that home run was the topper to last night's game, but the prelude was a whole lot of defense.
You know, we talked about home run derby in the first game of this series. Well, last night it was a leather night here at Citi Field in Queens. Boy, both these teams put on some show defensively. Here's Jason Worth. This is ho-hum after what we're going to show you later. David Wright, he makes a really nice play here. Unfortunately, he would have a poor defensive play later that would hurt. Here comes another one by the outfield. Carlos Beltran, hard to his left, slides and makes a terrific play there. Here's David Wright again in a big spot with a couple men on. J.C. Romero struggling there. Here comes that man again. Jason Worth makes the play. That was on a 3-1 pitch in the final out of that inning. Looks like the Phillies are going to cause some damage here in the 10th inning, but Tatis snares this line drive hit by Jimmy Rollins. Here's another look. That would have given the Phillies second and third. Nobody out. But wasn't to be. Now here, this saves the game. A breaking ball off Chan-Ho Park. Here comes Jason Worth, all out playing a no doubles defense. Sprawls for it. It was a do-or-die play. He made the play. Congratulations all around. Then Utley would come out and hit the home run, and the Phillies would win the ballgame. No surprise to see the Phillies play this kind of defense. They are the best in the major leagues as far as their fielding percentage go. The Mets not so hot, but last night they made pretty good plays. But their defense hurt them, Tom. The play we showed there by David Wright and a ball dropped by Beltran in center field that was ruled a hit that probably should have been an error. The Phillies rarely hurt themselves by not making plays.
Yeah, the other thing, too, is that the Mets stranded 16 runners on base, 8 in scoring position, and a lot of that was because of the Phillies' defense. Well, tonight's pitching matchup, Jamie Moyer will be on the mound for the Phillies, and he'll be opposed by Tim Redding, who won 3 games last year against the Phillies. That's our matchup. When we return, a Sports Night update with Amy Fadul. Phillies baseball is brought to you by...
Just moments away from Phillies baseball here on Comcast Sportsnet. Get set to battle the Mets at Citi Field. Good evening, everyone. Amy Fadul here in our Comcast Sportsnet studios. We'll get you back to Citi Field in time for first pitch. But first, let's take a spin around the day in the National League, starting in Atlanta with the Braves hosting the Pirates. Tied at 1 in the top of the ninth when Andy LaRoche singles to center off Rafael Soriano. That drives in 2 runs. Pittsburgh goes on to win it 3-1. Those teams split the 4-game series. Marlins hosting the Cardinals this afternoon. Game tied at 5. That is until Colby Rasmus singles to right. Brings home Ryan Ludwig. Cardinals come back to beat the Marlins 6-5. Other scores for you. Astros take it over the Cubs in the 13th inning. 2-1, they win it. Rockies Brewers 5-4. Aaron Cook went 6 strong innings to pick up his 5th win of the season. Giants Diamondbacks, Arizona's winner 2-1. Justin Upton with his 12th home run of the year for Arizona. And right now on the top of the 8th, the Reds on top of the Nationals 2-1. A lot of pitching duels out there. That's it from the news desk. T-Mac and Wheels back on the other side with the starting lineups and first pitch. I'm Amy Fadul, and we'll see you after the game.
Well, we'll see if Game 3 of this series is as entertaining as the first 2 days of this series here at Citi Field between the Phillies and the Mets. The Phillies begin play tonight, 3 games up in the National League East over New York, thanks to their 11-inning victory last night. Let's take a look at the starting lineup for Charlie Manuel. And it's brought to you by AT&T, your world delivered. Jimmy Rollins leads it off at shortstop. Shane Victorino, the center fielder, bats second. Chase Utley's at second base, once again hitting third, followed by Ryan Howard, the first baseman. Raul Ibanez, the left fielder, hits fifth. Jason Worth is in right field, batting sixth. Pedro Feliciano is over at third base once again, batting seventh. Chris Coast gets the start tonight with Jamie Moyer on the mound. He'll bat eighth, and Jamie will bat ninth for Charlie Manuel. And they will be opposed by right-hander Tim Reddy, who's making his 5th start of the year. And Wheels, here's a guy who won 3 games last year against the Phillies.
He was tough against the Phillies with the Washington Nationals and started off the season on the DL. Just has been back recently, made his first start in Los Angeles. And as Tom said, his four starts, 5th one coming up tonight. Last year he beat the Phillies in the 2nd game of the season 1-0. Beat Cole Hamels in the game at Citizens Bank Park. Fastball in that area, and it is a sinking type of fastball. He really likes to use his slider. There are those numbers. The Phillies did beat him around a little bit in the near the end of last year, but for the most part, he's been pretty good against them.
Yeah, his loss to the Phillies was July 30th of last year. He allowed 7 runs on 10 base hits in just 4 innings of work. So he'll go to work tonight against the Phillies and an offense that leads the league in home runs.
Time now for our Key State Chrysler Jeep keys to tonight's game, played in a London, England atmosphere. It is dreary here tonight. Foggy. Well, how do you top last night's game? There's no way. That thing was unbelievable. But finish off a tough trip with a win. You don't want to get in one of those games where you hear the bus engine running and think you've accomplished something already because you're 6-3. They could, really put a cherry on the top of this Sunday with another win tonight.
Well, Jimmy Rollins leads it off, and he bunts it toward the right of the mound. Nice play by Redding, and 1 away.
That's a great idea by Jimmy Rollins, who hardly ever does that. And give Redding a lot of credit. He made a tremendous play there. That looked like a base hit.
If it got past him, it would have been a base hit for Jimmy, because there's no way Castillo would have fielded it and thrown him out at first base.
No chance to throw him out. And like I said, it's a good thing to try and do. Drag one once in a while. Big old long pitcher's gloves. They use the biggest glove of them and the outfielders. You see Jimmy kind of, oh man, I almost had myself a hit there.
So Jimmy's retired. Here's Shane Victorino with 1 away. Shane on the year hitting .289 with 5 home runs and 29 RBIs. He's had a little bit of a rough stretch, although he's hitting .267 on this road trip. He's just 3 for his last 18. See what Shane has done on the road. A number of the Phillies hitters have better numbers away from Philadelphia. And this is hit sharply to second, but an easy play for Castillo. And there are 2 away. The umpires for tonight's ball game, the home plate umpire, and he's the only one in short sleeves. That's Dan Iasonia. Mike Winters is the first base umpire. Lance Barksdale's over at second. And Randy Marsh is around at third. Dan Iasonia got a lot of criticism during last night's ball game for 3 different plays that he called over at first base. And there's the London, England type atmosphere that Wheels talked about.
Dreary. Nothing wrong with, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to say anything's wrong with London, but they have a lot of weather like that, evidently, in London, England.
I think they have the chameleon out there like that.
Was that a frog out there, wasn't it?
Here's Chase, who's hitting .303 overall. Look at those numbers. 15 home runs and 41 RBIs. And this road trip has really helped out those numbers.
Or this could be San Francisco and it'd be colder.
Well, that's very true. So the temperature 61 degrees. The Lucky McDonald's Phillies home run jackpot contestant is Cheryl Stern from Drescher, PA. If the Phillies hit a home run in tonight's ball game, then Cheryl will win $100. Introducing McCafe coffees at McDonald's, a new line of lattes, mochas, and cappuccinos. Chase hit 2 home runs in last night's ball game, and he is just peppering that right field line. just above the 8-foot home run wall. And there's Mike Pelfrey, who gave up one of the home runs last night and also got into a little confrontation with Chase Utley. Pelfrey, after the ball game, said his adrenaline was flowing and he was frustrated that Chase stepped out of the box and called time because he was ready to throw. But he also said that he was upset that David Wright, his third baseman, and Jerry Manuel, his manager, came over to the mound to try to calm him down. In the air down the left field line.
Well,
run for Wright.
He's had a few problems. You know, talk about that game in San Francisco where he couldn't stop flinching with men on base. He got called for balks, could have got called for more, and then had to seek a little professional help after that. So he may just be a little bit high strung. Maybe he is.
Yeah, I think he is. See his numbers from last night: 4 runs, 2 strikeouts, and no decision. He finally did get Chase to ground out to finish that at bat where they were kind of jawing at each other. Swing and a miss, and Chase is down on strikes, and the Phillies are retired in order here in the first inning. A slider by Tim Redding. It was a high slider, so the Phillies are retired in order. Mets are coming up. Well, Jerry Manuel's lineup as we get set for the bottom of the first inning just a little different from the first 2 nights of this series. Louis Castillo leads it off at second base. Alex Cora, the shortstop, bats second. Carlos Beltran's at center field hitting third, followed by the left fielder Gary Sheffield. David Wright, the third baseman, bats fifth. Fernando Tatis makes another start at first base. He hits sixth. Fernando Martinez is the difference tonight. He's in right field instead of Ryan Church. He'll bat seventh. Omir Santos, the catcher, hits eighth. And batting ninth and pitching is right-hander Tim Redding. And they'll be opposed by lefty Jamie Moyer, making his 12th start of the season.
Jamie's been good lately. He had a good outing the other night in Los Angeles. That's one of the games the Phillies lost late. That's a game where Pedro had a little trouble with a ground ball, or else Jamie would have had career win number 251. And he always seems to pitch well against the New York Mets, at least innings-wise. There are some numbers on him from the Southwest Airlines scouting report. You know, he can throw some fly balls in this park and get away with it. And his numbers against the Mets, Tommy usually seems to pitch 6 innings.
Yeah, he's 8-5 with a 3.64 ERA lifetime against them. Facing Louis Castillo to start things off.
Yeah, the last time out here, he had a bad outing and threw 3 home run balls in this park.
He allowed 2 2-run home runs in the first inning of that ball game. I asked Rich Doobie before the ball game about that, and I said, why is tonight different? And he said, well, he's a totally different pitcher mechanically right now than he was back on that start. And a liner down the right field line that's in for a base hit, and that's going to be an extra base hit. Castillo's around first, heading to second, and he'll stop there with a leadoff double here in the bottom of the first inning. His 5th double of the year and his 7th extra base hit.
Smart veteran right-handed batter there. He's a switch hitter, but of course hitting right-handed against Moyer. And what you want to try to do with Jamie, if you're a right-handed hitter, is take him the other way. That would look like a little changeup. It was trying to, or something that he turned over, was trying to dive away from him, and instead of trying to pull it, hits it into the corner for a double.
So a runner on second here in the bottom of the first inning for Alex Cora, a .297 hitter. And Cora is trying to get him up over to third and bunts the first pitch foul.
Yeah, playing for an early run, and that was a sacrifice. Obviously, he was giving himself up and not bunting for a base hit.
So Jerry Manuel trying to manufacture a run here in the bottom of the first inning.
Right, he knows the Phillies will play the infield back with the first inning, and you know, if they can get him over, he can get a run on a ground ball.
See what Cora's done with the sack bunts this year. He's recorded 4 so far. So Phillies is in on the grass at third base. And Cora takes one low, 1 ball and 1 strike.
Type of situation where at any time they can take it off too. And the infielders, especially the 2 that are charging, they are well aware of that. Ryan Howard and Phillies, that you know, they could get a baseball hammered at them.
Two and 1 the count.
Like right now, when he gets ahead in the count like this is a great time to take it off and let a guy swing away.
Cora's hit in 3 straight games, 4 for 14 during that stretch. And he's 3 for 10 in this series. He squares again, bunts it toward third. It's a good bunt. Phillies will grab it, throw out Cora. The sacrifice is successful. Now the Mets have a man on third with one away.
Well, they were committed to the bunt and to get him over, and that's what they did.
So now Jamie will work with a runner on third base as Cora is retired 5-3. And here's Carlos Beltran.
They're playing that also like you're going to have a 5-inning game here tonight. You know, I don't know what the weather forecast is.
Pulls it towards shortstop. Then he'll get a run home. Rollins with a quick release. The throw is low. Dug out by Howard. That's a fine play by Ryan Howard. And it's 1-0 New York.
Did you hear anything that you're supposed to have rain later tonight that would make it a short? It just seems strange to me to play for one run against a guy like Jamie, you know, who does give up runs.
Well, I was in the dugout earlier with Rich Doobie and a couple of the coaches, and the groundskeeper for the Mets came over and said it's supposed to be like this the rest of the night.
Yeah. Nice play by Jimmy Rollins. You know, he'd rather have backhanded that, but he didn't have time, and he had to throw off his back foot, and it's tough to get a lot on the throw, but he's got such a strong arm, and a good play by Ryan on the other end.
Yeah, good stretch down the first base line. Here's Sheffield. Sheffield's got good career numbers against Jamie. Overall, 5 homers and 20 RBIs.
Boy, they playing him to pull. Felice is almost in foul territory.
Yeah, Pedro's only a couple steps from that third base line. 1-1 the count to Sheffield.
Sheffield had a game against Jamie at Clearwater this year. He's with the Tigers. He broke 2 bats in his first 2 at bats, and he was frustrated. Broke 1 on the end and got jammed, and broke 1 on the handle the second time up.
And he nearly broke 1 there off the end of the bat, and it's 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sheffield is 14 for 30 lifetime against Jamie with 4 home runs. Line drive foul, and the count holds 1-2.
Moyer's amazing. He shook off changeup, and he wanted to come inside. So he figures he can get it far enough in that Sheffield's going to hit it out of play, or maybe could jam him and he'll put it in play weakly. He just doesn't want to leave it out over the plate. There's a souvenir on this damp evening.
Lady's wearing that poncho, and I think the ball caught the poncho.
Well, that's thankfully it did, because that was a screamer.
Yeah, she's saying that it shot right into that seat, and the poncho must have slowed it down a little bit. 2-2 the count, and he hits it foul behind home plate. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Pirates have won their 2nd straight over the Braves. Last night it was Adam LaRoche, and today it's Andy LaRoche. 2 for 3 with 2 RBIs.
Split that 4-game series, winning the last 2 to the Pirates.
So the Phillies lead over the Braves is at 6 games as this game gets underway. David Wright waits on deck.
Now they just moved Chase Utley on the shortstop side, a second one, a full count. Figured he's really going to hammer one.
And he hits it toward the left side, but right at Pedro Feliciano. Low throw, dug out by Howard, and the inning is over. Now the Mets do get a run thanks to the leadoff double by Luis Castillo. We've played 1. It's 1-0 New York. During the 2009 season, Turkey Hill will contribute $100 for each Phillies victory and 5 cents for each carton of Phillies Graham Slam ice cream, sold to support the Phillies youth baseball and softball programs. Now the Phillies fans again traveling well up to Citi Field here in New York, and there have been a lot of them throughout this series scattered around the ballpark. Large group last night that was sitting in one section together down the left field line. And here's Ryan Howard to lead things off at the top of the second, with the Mets leading at 1-0. Ryan with 18 home runs and 48 RBIs. He's got 4 home runs on this road trip alone with 8 RBIs. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike. Ryan is tied for 3rd in the National League in homers with those 18. And he is 1 off the pace as the leader in the National League. Andre Ethier has 5. And he hits one of the air to center field. And Beltran's got a beat on it. And 1 away. Well, Lou Piniella and the Chicago Cubs will pay a visit to Philadelphia beginning Monday, July 20th. It's the start of a 3-game series. Wednesday, the 22nd, is a Citizens Bank Business Person Special. And it's also a Modell's Kids Run the Bases after the ball game. You can purchase your tickets now by logging on to Phillies.com. Also want to remind you that there are tickets still available for next week's series against the Toronto Blue Jays, as the Phillies will head back into interleague play tomorrow against the Boston Red Sox.
They're wrapping up their series with the Yankees tonight. Yankees still looking for their first win against Boston this year.
And tonight they have CC Sabathia going.
Yeah, they have to think they have a shot tonight.
No, they just went down at the top of the first inning, so no scores. They go to the bottom of the first.
Tim Wakefield, right, for the Red Sox.
That one is a liner toward the gap in left center field. Beltran on the run, reaches out and makes the grab. And they're 2 away here in the second. That ball was hit pretty hard by Ibanez.
It just didn't slice that much. You know, we had a real good look at it right behind home plate. And see right here, Beltran has it lined up. Then he wasn't quite sure what he was going to get there. And then he closes the ground quickly. But a lot of times those balls will really slice when a left-handed hitter hits it. And that one didn't. It kind of just flattened out.
Now, Beltran last night made a nice play running into the right center field gap and then dropped the ball at the wall off the bat of Jason Worth and helped the Phillies tie that game at 4.
Yeah, that was a big drop. They scored it a hit. You know, just as easily could have been an error.
Well, here is Jason Worth. Jason's got his batting average up over 260 to 261.
What a play he made.
All 3 of those plays last night that he made. The one early in the game where he was like a gazelle going into the gap in right center field. And the one over toward the half wall in foul territory.
And normally that had been talked about, and then they paled in comparison to the third one on David Wright.
And David Wright, as you mentioned during the outset of the telecast, hit the ball hard into that gap in right center field. That probably would have been a game winner for the Mets.
Well, the way that Martinez was running around the bases with 2 outs, the game's over.
1-2 the count to Jason. And that one got away from Redding. And it's 2-2. I think the fans seem to be cheering because that ball was close to Jason Worth, but I can't imagine that Tim Redding intended to do that.
No, he looked like he's trying to throw a fastball in and then go away with a slider, because that's his out pitch to right-handed hitters. This is a breaking ball.
And it remains 2 balls and 2 strikes. 91-mile-an-hour fastball there. Well, here are Jason's 3 catches last night.
And see, that's a really good play, but ho-hum. Here's another one. You know, it's a big-time play right there. Wow.
And it set things up for Chase Utley to hit the home run to eventually win it for the Phillies. Another slider from Tim Redding gets Jason Worth swinging. 6 up for the Phillies, 6 down as we go to the bottom of the second. Well, the Mets lead at 1-0 as we go to the bottom of the second inning here at Citi Field. Phillies wrapping up this long road trip. And it's a birthday night for Danny Martinez, one of the Phillies Spanish broadcasters. Danny's to your right, just blowing out the candles. Rob Brooks, Phillies director of broadcasting, is putting the cake in front of Danny. Happy 50th birthday to Danny. Bill Kulick, his partner, is to his left. Ricky Ricardo is there as well. Those must be trick candles.
They won't go out.
No.
And we know Danny could blow them out.
Oh, yes, he could. Well, happy 50th birthday, Danny. Sarge was, I think, took Danny out to lunch today with the rest of the folks from the Spanish Baseball Network. They've been broadcasting Phillies games for 5 years on 1480 WUBA. Here's David Wright leading things off at the bottom of the second. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike to him. David has good numbers against Jamie, as you see there. 3 home runs, 16 hits overall. And make it 17. As he lines one to right.
Another good approach.
And the Mets have the leadoff base runner on. Well, speaking of Danny Martinez and Bill Kulick, let's take a listen in to their broadcast on the Spanish Baseball Network.
Esta gente son mala. Aquí me trajeron un bebero. un bebero y también unos Wright para si me ensucio la camisa. Yeah, this ain't nice. Unbelievable.
Pues disfruta tu cumpleaños, Danny.
Bueno,
aquí en la Gran Manzana, tu casa.
Bueno, Billy, qué mejor cumpleaños que celebrarlo aquí en New York, en Flushing, donde tengo tantos recuerdos de mi pelota, pero la verdad que esto que me está enseñando, esto no está bien.
No.
Y los wipes, ¿viste esto?
Pues feliz. Disfruta. Doña Angélica está aquí en Nueva York, ¿no?
Sí, está en New York, doña Angélica. Está muy bien, me llamaron. Mi mamá y papá están aquí, mi hermano, mi hermana. Así que un día, esta gira ha sido muy buena aquí para nosotros.
Todavía están.
Larry Anderson, man. Tremendo tipo este. Mira lo que me escribió aquí. Danny Martinez, happy birthday. Thank you so much.
Regresamos al pelota. Tatis en el cada bateo con Wright la primera, Danny.
Sí, Billy, me está molestando desde allá. Vamos a tener que estar tranquilos aquí, ¿verdad?
Sí.
Bueno, aquí bateando Fernando Tatis. Tatis que está bateando 2.64 este año con 2 cuadrangulares, 12 remolcadas. Le pegó bien a un lanzamiento ahí de Jamie Moyer, un rompiente. Bueno, Billy, hasta ahora estamos viendo que Jamie Moyer está dejando los lanzamientos un poquito altos. Eso no es bueno.
No.
Preparado el zurdo, vigilando el corredor de primera. El lanzamiento viene, batazo alto por el centro, Victorino hacia atrás. Victorino hacia atrás le va a llegar porque la pelota no está corriendo. Cualquier otro día tal vez, pero no hoy.
Cualquier otro parque, Danny. Un bombazo de 406 pies más o menos. En nuestro parque por lo menos.
Well, it's nice to see that Danny and Bill are having a good time. What I gathered from that, and I know this because I signed the bib, is that Danny received a bib as part of his birthday gift today.
Because Danny likes to eat.
Yes, well, he likes to spill, too.
Yeah, well, you can usually tell what he had for dinner when you check his shirt.
Yeah, and Sarge will point it out to him very often, too. So, happy 50th birthday to Danny Martinez. Here's Fernando Martinez, no relation to Danny. As Jamie Moyer trying to keep David Wright close at first.
He kept talking about the pelota, the ball.
Okay. I was wondering what some of the words were. I mean, I had 4 years of Spanish in high school, and I didn't understand anything.
Yeah.
I understood unbelievable. I got that one.
He understood Victorino.
I understood Larry Anderson.
Yeah, well, you do that nobody else does. Congratulations for you. You say to him, Feliz cumpleaños número 50.
That's a big one, isn't it?
Yeah, that's 50.
That's a big one. 0-1 the count to Fernando Martinez. And it's no balls and 2 strikes. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Rockies have won their 9th consecutive games. They defeated the Brewers 5-4. Aaron Cook gets the win. 6 innings, 7 hits, 7 strikeouts. I should say their 8th consecutive game. I've already got them winning tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which, the way they're playing, they might win tomorrow.
Well, they took it to the Brewers. The Brewers have been playing great baseball. And as a result of that, the rest of the division's sneaking up on Milwaukee now.
Yeah, those 8 straight wins for Colorado, all on this road trip. Jim Tracy took over for Clint Hurdle, and the Rockies started winning some games. Count remains 1-2 to Martinez.
Give Martinez a shot against Jamie Moyer. They said they weren't going to play him against left-handers, but Church is in that spot too. And Jamie is not what you would call a nasty left-hander, so you know they figure they're not going to expose him to a guy, you know, that might get him pulling off, something like that, get him in bad habits. And this kid is a great prospect for them.
Yeah, he's just 20 years old. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes to him.
Seen him a few times on TV, and he has a nice swing. He's kind of a glider too. He looks like a real good athlete. Probably will grow into that body and get stronger.
Another throw over, and Wright is back standing. Even with all the cloud cover and the soupy conditions, they're still landing planes at LaGuardia.
Yeah, that's a takeoff pattern we're hearing right now. Kind of glad we're taking a bus tonight. It's a little murky here.
Swing and a miss, and Martinez is down on strikes, and there's the second out here in the bottom of the second inning. Good pitch by Jamie Moyer. Hey, Phillies fans, during tomorrow night's Phillies game against the Red Sox, don't just watch, play along live. Online with Michael Barkan and Ricky Vitalico at csnphilly.com. Make predictions, answer trivia, chat with friends, and earn points to win great prizes. Play Friday Night Fever tomorrow night during the Phillies game by logging on to csnphilly.com. Keyword fever. As the Boston Red Sox will be in town for a 3-game series. Omer Santos, a .277 batter.
This guy's really taken over, playing a lot. Of course, the Phillies are 3 left-handers in this series. Santos has played a lot, and Schneider did get into the game last night late.
There goes David Wright. Pitch is taken for a strike. The throw by Coast from his knees. He got a lot on it with one hop, but Wright steals second base. It's his 17th stolen base of the year.
That's where a smart pitcher like Jamie Moyer cannot let Santos hurt him here. With the base open, the pitcher on deck and 2 outs. Here it is, as Tom said, no chance, but Chris Coast did get quite a lot on that throw from his knees, the old Benito Santiago throw.
Tries to move his feet a little bit. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Santos has done so well with the Mets that while Brian Schneider was on the disabled list and was ready to come off, they decided to trade Ramon Castro to the Chicago White Sox. He had been their backup for a number of years. And Santos much cheaper than Castro and a little younger as well. And the Mets as a team lead the league with their batting average with runners in scoring position, and Santos is right there with everybody. It's one in the air to right center field. It's playable for Jason Worth. This was an easy play compared to the ones he made last night, and the inning is over. Mets strand a runner in scoring position. We've played 2. It's 1-0 New York.
Nothing goes better with Phillies baseball than a tasty cake. Tasty cake.
Nothing goes better with Phillies baseball like the fresh baked taste of a tasty cake. Enter the Phillies Fan Frenzy for your chance to win great prizes. See specially marked packages for details and how to enter. Promotion ends July 10th. Open to legal U.S. residents. Void where prohibited.
Time now for the Dodge Stump the Fans trivia question. Log on to Phillies.com. Go to the fan forums section for all the information. And please submit your answer on the subject line. The question is, what is the Mets record for most runs and hits allowed in a game?
Is there any chance I saw that game?
There is a very good chance you saw that game unless you took the day off.
That is Von Hayes' 2 in the first.
Don't give it away, Will.
No, I'm not, but that was a big night.
Well, the answer will be revealed in the 7th inning.
Yeah, well, I'm giving the fans a hint. Von Hayes had a big game that night, and he later named his boat 2 in the first. And then the boat blew up. And they everybody that knew Von said there was Captain Error involved.
I would think that there's some truth to that.
And he admits to that.
There's the bottom third of the order for the Phils, leading off at the top of the third. Pedro Feliciano hitting .303 overall and .303 on this road trip. He has 3 runs batted in on this trip. And he takes one on the outside corner for a strike. It's 0-1. 7-game hitting streak for Pedro. Line drive to left field, a base hit for Pedro. So that's the first hit of the day for the Phillies. Major League Baseball and People Magazine are recognizing individuals who have made a difference in our community. Go to peopleallstars.com and vote for your favorite everyday All-Star who will represent the Phillies with the chance to be honored at the 2009 All-Star Game in St. Louis, July 14th on Fox. And the folks that are going to be representing the Phillies in that opportunity will be in the booth with us on Saturday night against the Red Sox. We'll get a chance to meet each one of them individually.
Look forward to that.
Pretty nice. Speaking of folks who are doing a lot of good things in Philadelphia, Phillies wives are planning to save a pet at the ballpark tomorrow at Citizens Bank Park. They're inviting all fans to enter on the first base side of Citizens Bank Park as Chris Coste stands in, and he takes one at the knees for a strike. The wives are encouraging fans to donate pet toys, Kongs, and gently used blankets to the Pennsylvania SPCA. Bring them to the ballpark tomorrow. We'll have a mystery ball sale to raise some money for the Pennsylvania SPCA. Also have some memorabilia, game used memorabilia, that'll be auctioned off tomorrow. And a looper over the head of Castillo into right field, a base hit. Phillies around second. He's heading to third. Castillo with nothing on the throw. And the Phillies have runners on first and third with nobody out here in the top of the third inning.
That was a good job by Sam Perlazo. He got Felice's attention as he came around second base and had him coming all the way. And, you know, that's one of those things. That looked like some of those hits they were getting off Hamels last night. A good base running. Right here, I mean, he just jams Chris Coste, and they're cheating up the middle for a double play, so Castillo can't get there, and as Tom said, he can't get anything on the throw, so he comes around, and Sam Perlazo was waving him hard to come to third base, and that's good base running and good coaching.
So the Phillies with runners on first and third, and here's Moyer, who most likely will be there to sacrifice Coste up to second.
Jamie's usually pretty good at this.
Well, and it's a little more difficult with Chris because he doesn't run that well. Jamie 1 for 15 overall, already squaring, and he bunts it in the air, and it drops in front of Santos. He still, though, has time to throw Coste out at second base.
Well, there's nothing Coste could do about that. You know, he can't. He doesn't run real well, but the thing's in the air so long, it looks like it's going to be caught. And he certainly doesn't want to get doubled. So then when it hit the ground, he's a dead duck at second base. You know, the good base running he did on that was not get doubled. See, the ball's popped right up in the air, and that looks like it has to be caught. You see, he just freezes right there, which is a correct thing to do. And now when the ball drops right there, Santos has an easy play. Just throw him out at second base. 1-6 or 2-6.
So one away, and still runners on first and third, just a different runner on first. And here's Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy tried to bunt his way on the first time up, bunted to the right of the mound, and Tim Redding made a fine play to grab it and throw Jimmy out at first. And that's in for a strike, and it's 0-1.
First pitch changeup, and he got it over, according to Dan Iasonia.
Jimmy hitting just .225 on this road trip. Thought he had a base hit in last night's game. He hit a liner, a screamer, right toward the first base line, and it was picked out of the air by Fernando Tatis.
Yeah, he was holding Coste on at first, and then jumped off the bag quickly and made a heck of a play.
1-1 the count to J-Roll, and he fouls that one off, and it's 1-2. Tim Redding last year won 10 games for the Washington Nationals. He was 10-11 with a 4.95 ERA.
He had a good stretch after the All-Star break last year, then lost his last 3 starts.
In the air to left field, should be deep enough to score Phillies. Backing up is Sheffield. It will be deep enough to score Phillies. A sacrifice fly for J-Roll. The Phillies have tied this game up at 1 apiece. RBI number 22 for Jimmy.
A good job by Jimmy to get the ball in the air with 2 strikes and plenty deep enough to score. Pedro on that. So good base running in that inning by the Phillies, and then executing with the fly ball.
So we're all even at 1 here in the top of the 3rd.
Both teams have manufactured a run here.
Fourth RBI on this road trip for Jimmy. Here's Victorino. And Shane pops it foul, and it's 0-1. Jamie not being held on by Tatis at first. And it's 0-2. A lot of day games today in Major League Baseball. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, Albert Pujols. He had been going through a home run drought. Well, he hit one today, and the Cardinals defeated the Marlins 6-5. Ryan Franklin picked up his 14th save for the Cards. An inning and 2/3 in relief. Victorino, a looper toward left. Sheffield on the run. And he puts it away for the final out. But the Phillies draw even on a sacrifice fly by Jimmy Rollins. So Jamie Moyer goes back to work in the bottom of the 3rd in a 1-1 game. From Citi Field here in Queens, Phillies and the Mets in the final game of this 3-game series. It's a 1-1 game.
Yeah, and they get a little break last inning, did the Phillies, when Santos was batting. And he got himself out. You know, Jamie was not going to throw him a strike because they were going to let Redding, finish. But this is better, of course, when anytime you can lead off with a pitcher as opposed to leading off with a leadoff man. And, that was just not a good job by the number 8 hitter.
Well, and last night, Jerry Manuel's team, we said, stranded 16 runners on base. 8 of those runners were in scoring position. And he's gotten 1 run home here today. But he's already stranded 1 in scoring position. That was with that at bat from Santos. So Redding will lead things off. He's a lifetime 149 hitter.
Pitchers have hurt the Phillies in this series.
Yeah, the first night it was Johan Santana, and last night, of all the base hits that Cole Hamels gave up, all but 1. It was won by Mike Pelfrey. All but 1 were singles.
Right.
Pelfrey had a double off the wall.
Yeah, Pelfrey hit the ball the hardest. There's Livan Hernandez there with him. That's a good guy to talk pitching with. Well, what a job he's done.
1-2 the count to Redding.
Anybody could have had Livan Hernandez. And, he's been going the other way the last few years. And he has really helped keep them above water.
Well, they said one of the biggest things he's done is he has thrown strikes when he's out there, which, he's done that for his entire career.
Yeah, what he used to do. I mean, he'd be 3-2 on everybody,
right.
Get him out, but he'd throw 120 pitches.
Oh, he's 5-1 right now this year at ERA under 4. Of course, the Phillies won't see him, or haven't seen him in this trip, and you see his numbers overall: 152 wins.
This guy's had a heck of a career, and he is a tremendous athlete too. What a great hitter he's been throughout his career. Good fielder. Lost a lot of weight this year, they said, too, and he looks good.
Well, they said he had to take the burden off of his knees.
Yeah.
1 away as Redding went down on strikes. Here's Luis Castillo, who doubled to start the bottom of the first inning. Castillo, who began his career with the Florida Marlins, he spent a decade. First 2 years, he was up and down between the minor leagues and the major leagues, but overall, he spent a decade in Florida.
He was a project of Tony Taylor, ex-Philly. And Tony really made this guy into a major league player. If Tony has a legacy with the Marlins, and I'm sure he does with other players, it's Castillo.
Outside, 2-1.
Boy, he and Pierre were some 1-2 punch for a while.
Oh, they sure were.
They were on base a lot.
They're kind of interchangeable too. You could put one in the leadoff spot and one in the number 2 spot.
Yeah, because they both could bunt. Castillo was probably a little bit better as a 2-hole hitter because he could pull the ball a little bit better left-handed, and he could slap it right-handed in the hole.
All-time leader in games played for the Florida Marlins with over 1,100. And he lines one into left field, of base hit. Ibanez gets to it quickly. Castillo, a big turnaround first, and a great throw by Raul to hold him at first.
As we were talking about, having the pitcher lead off the inning instead of Castillo. And, you know, at least they have an out here. And that all comes down to the 8-hole hitter not being disciplined.
Which is what Jamie thrives on.
Well, yeah, and you know, when you hit 8th in a lineup, that's one of the toughest things to do is accept that walk when they're trying to just pitch around you.
Alex Cora with a sacrifice his last time up. And Cora bunts again. This time he's trying to bunt for a base hit. Phillies on the bare hand throws him out. And they're 2 away. They're going to score that a sacrifice, but he was bunting for a base hit in that spot.
Plus there's 1 out. I don't know. Maybe there's a scoring rule that you have to give one there. And it could be.
Well, there are 2 outs for Moyer here in the bottom of the 3rd. And Castillo's on second base.
Something about the scoring rules. There's a lot we don't know. And it's always interesting. Sometimes one will come up and you'll learn something.
A lot of times it's the discretion of the official scorer, you know, whatever style they have.
But, you know, you're in a one. A lot of times the score has something to do with it. 1-1. You'd bunt a guy in a scoring position in a close game. But with 1 out, I don't know. Jamie wants to know who called timeout.
I don't know if it was Lance Barksdale. You see there the second base umpire, if they needed to move him. Beltran grounded out his first time up, but it drove in the run for the Mets. 36th RBI of the year for him. That one just missed. 2-1. And he's come up big for them this year in this situation. See, 7 for 19 with 8 RBIs. And it's 3 balls and 1 strike now to Beltran.
And he's not going fishing. You can see that Jamie's trying to get him to chase down and away, and he won't do it.
Gary Sheffield waits on deck. Line drive, base hit down the left field line. Castillo's going to score from second. Beltran's going to get to second. It's an RBI double. The Mets retake the lead 2-1. Second run scored of the day for Castillo. Second RBI for Beltran. The pitch was up and he drilled it.
Yeah, it sure was. Up and away. He was trying to throw him down and away that hole. That probably was supposed to be down and away, and he missed the spot. Here's a look at it. Yeah, you see where it's supposed to be and what happened. It's like a changeup that just kind of hung up there in the strike zone.
So Charlie Manuel watches his team fall behind again here in the bottom of the 3rd. It's 2-1. And Gary Sheffield takes one on the inside corner. Last time Jamie Moyer pitched here in New York, everything was out over the plate. Everything was in the middle of the plate. And he was going through a tough stretch. He was going through a 3-game stretch in which he was 0-2. And his ERA was just under 14 during that period.
He kept giving up 7 runs. Well, he's committed to pounding Sheffield in, too. He's just staying in on this guy.
They go in again, and he hits it off the end of the bat. Rollins has it. And the inning is over. The Mets do take the lead on an RBI double by Carlos Beltran. We have completed 3. It's 2-1 New York. And coming up, Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Raul Ibanez for the Phils. When you can't follow the Phillies on Comcast Sportsnet, you can follow the action on your iPhone and iPod Touch with MLB.com at Bat 2009. Visit Phillies.com on your iPhone or iPod Touch to purchase today. Oh, we head to the top of the 4th inning here at Citi Field. Gary Matthews settles in with the Mets leading at 2-1. It'll be Chase Utley, Ryan Howard, and Raul Ibanez. There is Raul, who's due to bat 3rd in this inning. He hit the ball hard his first time up, and he was retired by Carlos Beltran. And he's hoping to have a chance to drive in a run here as Chase Utley will start things off. Chase struck out his first time up against Tim Redding. And he takes one low. It's 1-0.
They actually got him on a high fastball. Chase has been chasing those pitches that are up in the zone. J-Ro's been swinging at some of those high fastballs.
Oh, he's ahead 2 balls and no strikes here. Sarge, before the ball game, I was talking to Davey Lopes about that incident yesterday with Mike Pelfrey, and in particular the ground out and the look that Davey gave Pelfrey as he was walking by him as that inning was coming to a close. And I said to Davey, I said, what were you thinking? He said, because we caught you, with your eyes wide. He said, what I was thinking? That guy's a big dude.
And he is.
Pelfrey's
tall pitcher,
6'7". He said he and Chase both were talking about that as they were walking by him. They obviously knew it from watching Pelfrey, but just walking by him, he was a pretty tall guy.
Yeah, Chase was saying too, though, that he was just getting set, just trying to get set in the box. A lot of times hitters that aren't set, and they see the pitcher getting ready to throw, will try and call a timeout.
That one's hit hard. A nice play by Castillo. Off balance throw in time to get Utley. That's a pretty good play. One second baseman to another. Well, this is what happened last night between Chase Utley and Mike Pelfrey. This is the first time Chase stepped out. And Chase is telling him to relax. And here's the second time. Now, Randy Marsh, the home plate umpire, is the one that called time the second time. It wasn't Chase. And this is what we're talking about with Davey Lopes. Look at Davey.
He is big, isn't he? Walking off the field. Tempers will fly, especially during the course of the season, or the summer, I should say.
Ryan Howard flying out to center his first time up. Two 2-0 the count to Ryan. Ryan with 195 career home runs as a Philly, which is tied for 8th with Bobby Abreu on the franchise's all-time list. And it's 2 balls and 2 strikes. On the Toyota Major League scoreboard, the Red Sox and David Ortiz have taken a 1-0 lead over the Yankees in the 3rd. Second home run of the series for Ortiz. He has 8 RBIs this year against the Yankees alone. Ortiz last week was checked to see, had his eyes checked to see if that's what the problem was, because he was hitting under 200.
Yeah, well,
he wasn't hitting home runs.
One of his problems is not having Manny Ramirez hitting behind him to be able to get good pitches.
Howard lofts one to left, and it's way up there to give Sheffield plenty of time to get under it. And they're 2 away. Well, Sarge, the other thing too is that is such a bitter rivalry between those two teams that, he's been a big part of it the last 5 or 6 years. That, that might get his juices flowing a little bit too.
I would say.
Now, we probably won't see him this weekend unless it's a pinch hitting appearance.
Well, that's just fine. And he's starting to heat up. For whatever reason, this Tim Redding seems to keep these guys off balance. Always seems to pitch pretty good against them, even when he was with the Nationals last year.
0-2 the count to Ibanez. Well, why is that?
So far, he's been hitting his spots. Well, I mean, he's coming in 5-3 lifetime, 3.29 ERA would tell you right there that he feels pretty comfortable in pitching against them.
And this is a guy who's nearly 20 games under 500 for his career against the opposition.
You know, well, we talked about that before. Sometimes some guys feel good pitching against a particular team. Ibanez off balance a little bit. What you want to try and do, foul off pitches. 50 total pitches so far. Pretty good split on the strikes.
That one just missed. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Raul.
He has a variety of different fastballs, a two-seamer, and he will throw a cutter, usually to the left-handed hitters.
And he gets Ibanez on strikes, and that is the 3rd strikeout of the night for Tim Redding. It's also the 3rd time he's retired the Phillies in order in this ball game. He's got a 2-1 lead as we go to the bottom of the 4th.
Grab a partner and join the fun. The Phillies host the Blue Jays for some interleague play June 16th and 17th, and Thursday the 18th at 1:05. It's the Citizens Bank Business Person Special. Don't miss your turn to cheer your team. Order at Phillies.com. Can the Phils wipe out the Reds? Join us July 6th through the 9th. On the 7th, it's Verizon Phillies Beach Towels. And on the 9th, Independence Blue Cross Fireworks. Order now at Phillies.com.
Well, from Citi Field, we're at the bottom of the 4th inning. Mets lead it 2-1. Well, with Gary Matthews, I'm Tom McCarthy. And Sarge at one time had a chance to play here in New York. Back when he was with the San Francisco Giants, he became a free agent. And those Mets came after you pretty good, didn't they?
I'm impressed that you would know that.
I looked up some things on you.
Unreal. Yeah, I did have a chance to actually play for the Mets, and Tom Seaver came up and asked me, did they actually try and sign you? And when I told him no, he left. There's the way that the story went.
Yeah, he had apparently, according to reports, had asked the management for the New York Mets to go out and get a fleet-footed, hard-hitting center fielder from the San Francisco Giants. Now, I didn't realize that you were playing center field at the time. Now, the paper may have been wrong about that, but
well, just on one thing. Just on the center field, the fleet foot and everything else. they got all that right. So, I mean, that's not a big deal right there.
Well, I thought that was a mistake in the paper when I read it, and it was an article from back in the late 70s.
Wow.
And it said a center fielder, fleet-footed center fielder, as David Wright sends one in the air to left field. And that one is off the base of the wall. Ibanez plays it well. Here's his throw to second base. Wright sliding in, and he's out at second base. Oh, what are they going to learn? Raul Ibanez with another outfield assist.
Boy, oh boy, he's playing that field out in left field like he has played it before, and he has. That carom coming right off, but more importantly, how about the throw? Not even bouncing it, and Wright knowing that ball going off the wall, it has to be right on the bag. Ball almost going out of the ballpark. Ibanez there plays it off the wall. Now look at this throw. All the way on the line. DOA on arrival there. Nice throw.
And Fernando Tatis takes one for a strike. I mean, he has played several balls off that left field wall exceptionally well in this series.
See Wright kind of looking out there like, I can't believe it. They said he couldn't play defense. Don't know who they is, though. But Ibanez has been playing great defense all year long. And showing a pretty good arm.
Oh, and you can't give up to any ball to left field or to center field in this ballpark because there's so much space out there. 0-2 to Tatis taken outside. It's 1-2. So Sarge, what was it that caused you not to come to New York and instead go to Atlanta?
Ted Turner. Plain and simple.
And a 5-year deal. Is that part of it too?
Actually, all of the deals would have been 5-year deals.
Base hit to right for Tatis.
Shows you how big that play is now by Ibanez.
And for the Mets, that is already their 6th base hit in this game. There's Raul, and again, his play to throw out David Wright, who had that play right in front of him. And you have to figure that between first and second, he realized, I got no chance. I got no chance.
Like, oh no. But by then, he's digging in and knowing that it's going to take a good throw to get him. It was bang, bang. The throw had to be exactly where it was in order to get David Wright.
Here's Fernando Martinez, who struck out his first time up. And Jimmy worked him inside the entire at bat last time, and we'll see if he does the same thing here throughout this at bat.
You know, that same year I had also an opportunity to go to the Yankees, and they actually took Gullett instead of me. Gullett, they had picked number 3. Reggie was 1. I was 2.
So they decided to go for some pitching instead of some outfield help.
Yeah. Would have been nice to be with the Yankees, though, with all those hitters.
Well, what struck me reading the article about the Mets not going after you was that Tom Seaver said that led him to request a trade, which eventually happened when he went to the Cincinnati Reds.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's definitely a true story.
I didn't realize you had that much control, Sarge.
Well, you know, I would have loved to have played on Tom Seaver's side. Let me tell you, it wasn't fun facing him those years. But that was a time when free agency just started. So a lot of the different teams didn't know exactly what to offer, exactly what they were doing, whether or not free agency was going to actually work. But lo and behold, it did.
Oh, it certainly worked for you.
I had a good time with it. And just by the luck of the draw, because we were arguing over $5,000 is the reason that I didn't sign, if you can believe that. I know John Montefusco had went in and told the Giants, you can't do that for $5,000, but yes, they did. Seems like peanuts, though, today.
Oh, there's no question. It seems like peanuts in today's day and age in baseball. One ball, 2 strikes the count to Martinez. With 1 away here in the bottom of the 4th inning. And they continue to work inside to Fernando. It's a good job by Jamie Moyer, and why not? I mean, he handles young players better than any pitcher out there.
Well, he sets them up. And again, throwing inside, then he'll go away. Last time he struck him out on a fastball. It was about 81, 82 on the inside part of the plate.
That nearly got him, did it? Yes, it did. It just barely grazed him. That's the 6th batter that Jamie has hit this year. And the Mets have 2 runners on here in the bottom of the 4th inning.
Yeah, see right there, just making sure, though, that pitch was in.
Well, here's Raul Ibanez and what he's done in left field during this series.
Yeah, well, this one was on Tuesday. He does the same thing. Now, look at this throw. It's a little bit lower. Boy, he got it very easy as he's going in. And now, tonight, he picks on David Wright. Ball hit high off of that ball there. Ibanez coming in with another strong throw. That one a little bit higher, putting a little bit more on it.
Omer Santos, the batter. He popped out to right his first time up. Well, it's 5 outfield assists for Ibanez.
Well, that's the way you do it. When that ball is hit, you know that you can't get it. You turn around and play it right off the wall the way that he did. And he caught it cleanly and came up with a good throw.
In the air to right field, it's not deep. Worth got a good jump. And there are 2 away. So Tatis back to second. Martinez back to first. Time to take a look at our Firestone leaders. Involves the Phillies pitching staff. Most wins by a left-handed starter, or starters I should say. The Phillies have 12 victories by left-handers this year. Firestone, a tradition of innovation, and you figure that that number is going to rise pretty quickly because they now have 4 lefties in the rotation.
Well, you would hope so.
The A's with 13, Dodgers with 12. And here's Tim Redding.
You really got to concentrate on these pitchers. They've been hurting the Phils there with base hits, driving in runs. Pelfrey did it last night.
That one hit back toward the middle. Rollins, though, is there. And the short way to second in the inning is over. So the Mets strand 2 more. They've stranded 4 through the first 4 innings. And Jamie Moyer heads to the dugout, down 2-1. Finish the Phillies game with Greg Murphy and former Phillies closer Mitch Williams' extensive game breakdown, plus player reactions with Kevin Walsh on Sloan Toyota Presents Phillies postgame live after the game, only on Comcast Sportsnet. Saw Kevin before the ball game. He is here at Citi Field. And Murph is back in Philadelphia, which is where we'll be this weekend when the Phillies take on the Boston Red Sox at the start of a 3-game series. 3 against the Red Sox, off day on Monday, 3 against the Blue Jays. And there are seats still available for the series against the Toronto Blue Jays. And it's going to be nice to get home for the Phillies, where they're 2 games under 500, but they've won 3 straight. Tim Redding will go to work here in the top of the 5th inning, leading it 2-1. It'll be Jason Worth, Pedro Feliciano, and Chris Coast for the Phils.
You can see Tim Redding not throwing very hard, and again, when a guy isn't doing that, you want to really kind of shorten your stroke up a little bit. Don't want to swing too wildly at him.
Well, Sarge, talking about this Red Sox matchup, here are the probables for this weekend. John Lester against Joe Blanton tomorrow. Dice K against Antonio Bastardo on Saturday. And the Phillies will see Josh Beckett on Sunday. David Wright with a diving grab, a wide throw, and Worth is safe at first base. So that'll be a base hit for Jason, his 11th of this road trip.
Well, Wright making a pretty good play, knowing that he had to get up right away. Worth has above average speed getting down to first base. You can see now Wright getting up and throwing that ball, and then the throw just brought Tatis right off the bag there. Don't have time to set yourself.
Well, Sarge, they just gave David Wright an error on that one.
That's a tough error.
It's his 9th of the year. And, well, they always say that a play like that is a separate play. Yes, you make the diving grab, but then if you have time, you have to make a clean throw. I still think it would have been, well, I still think it was a tough play.
Well, I mean, the fact of the matter is, on that particular play, once you get it and there's a slow runner running, yeah, you got plenty of time. But when it's a fast runner, you don't have time to set your feet and be able to throw. It should be a base hit.
Yeah,
that's a situation where it's either a good play, or you don't punish the hitter for hitting the ball hard, or the fielder for catching a diving ball.
Little roller towards shortstop. They're not going to get Worth at second base. Core's throw to first, dug out by Tatis. And there's one away. So Worth is in scoring position here in the top of the 5th.
I don't know how they can claim that it's a separate play. I mean, it's all together one play, and it all depends on the runner.
Yeah, if it's somebody like Chris Coast who doesn't run it that well.
Good point.
Well, the 9th error of the year for David Wright.
So what the scorer is saying, well, if he had thrown a good throw, he might have gotten a throw.
Right.
That's the same thing as a double play. You can't count on a double play being turned.
Oh, and 1 to Coast. All right, Sarge, baseball situations here. Worth's on second. He's got 10 stolen bases this year. What's the odds that he tries to take off for third with Coast at the plate here.
Well, he's got to have the time on Redding first of all, and if he's short going home to home plate, you don't want to go. That's a pretty large leg kick. He can go now.
Foul ball.
But you don't want to go unless you make it, especially in that situation. And I mean, it's just harsh to say, but you can't be running into an out when you can give yourself at least 2 shots at trying to get them in. And usually if you run, you want to do it early in the count. You know, with 2 strikes, Coast is in that kind of a protect mode.
Now, my thought about taking off here, and maybe it is too late at this point with the count 0-2, is that if he's on third, you've got Coast up, and then a fly ball would score him with Jamie Moyer in the on-deck circle. Who's not really as likely to get a base hit to drive him home.
Well, good play if you can get over there. You got your 8-hitter hitting.
In the air to right field, and Martinez is there. And there are 2 outs. So Jason back to second base. And Tim Redding will face the Phil's pitcher, Jamie Moyer.
And usually now you'll have the fielders playing up close. So even if Jamie gets a hit, might be a little difficult for Jason Worth at second base to score. See, Jamie's driven in 2 runs here for the season.
See where the outfield is set up. Sheffield in left, Beltran in center, and Martinez in right. They've come in a few steps. Got a Mets fan to the right and a Phillies fan to the left. Looks like father and son there.
Yeah, well,
be an interesting household.
He's got a better hat, championship.
That one is sliced the opposite way. Wright has it, and his throw to first is in time as Tatis is able to hang on to the bag, and the inning is over. So the Phil Strand one in scoring position. We played 4.5. It's 2-1 New York. Produced a split of this 3-game series so far. This is game number 3, and we move to the bottom of the 5th inning. Jamie Moyer has allowed 6 hits over the first 4 innings of work. He's thrown 69 pitches and has allowed 2 runs. Jamie with 86 wins after his 40th birthday, and that is the 3rd most in Major League Baseball history, behind Jack Quinn and Phil Niekro. Jack Quinn won 130 games after he was 40. In fact, he pitched until he was 50. And Phil Niekro, well, he won 121 games after he was 40 years old. You see Jamie with 86. Luis Castillo leads things off. He takes a pitch for a strike. Jack Quinn won 247 games during his career, but he also saved 57. And he was known, Sarge, according to the internet, as Castillo sends one in the air to deep left field. Ibanez is going back, and that's off the wall. Victorino plays it off the wall, and Castillo has his 2nd double of the ball game and his 3rd hit overall.
Boy, Castillo seeing that ball pretty good off of Jamie Moyer. Been going to right field, then he shoots one off the wall, high on the wall in left field. Almost like left center.
That's his 2nd 3-hit game of the year.
See where the pitch is. A breaking ball. He waits very well on it. Smacks it as it's coming down. See now how close Ibanez is, and that's what you have, a good center fielder that will come over when you get close to the wall. Good play by Victorino.
Well, Cora has sacrificed his last 2 times up. Let's see what he does here. You would think he's going to sacrifice in this spot. He squares and takes a pitch for a strike. It's 0-1.
Yeah, might want to be saving that thumb there that he's been had some trouble with. And to be quite frank, with nobody out, that's a good play with Beltran coming up.
0-2 the count to Cora. Little roller foul, and the count remains 2 strikes. Alex Cora began his major league career in Los Angeles, where he played for 7 seasons for the Dodgers. He spent the last 3 years with the Boston Red Sox. And the count remains no balls and 2 strikes. Jamie now at 75 pitches for the night. He hasn't walked anybody in the game. He's hit 1 batter.
You know, they foul a lot of Jamie Moyer's pitches off. Doesn't get him to swing and miss a lot.
Down low, 1 ball and 2 strikes now to Cora. And that one is just fouled down the right field line.
And normally when that ball comes inside, you'd be able to jam that hitter, but Jamie doesn't throw as hard, so hitters are able to get that good part of the bat on the ball.
Castillo's on second base. Certainly has gotten a good part of the bat on the ball tonight. 3 hits, 2 runs scored so far. And he does get the runner over to third. Howard will take it to the bag himself. And there's 1 away here at the bottom of the 5th inning.
Well, that's a pretty good at bat there.
Well, today's Green Fact about Citizens Bank Park is brought to you by the Green Sense program at Citizens Bank. At Citizens Bank Park, even some of your favorite souvenirs have gone green. Organic t-shirt, hats, and even socks are now for sale at the Majestic Team Store. There's also an organic souvenir tote bag as well. With Green Sense at Citizens Bank, get paid 10 cents every time you pay without paper. Up to $120 per year. Visit citizensbank.com/greensense for details. Here's Beltran, who has 2 RBIs tonight, a ground out in the first, a double his last time up. And he's batting here with a runner on third.
Well, infield back, conceding a run for an out.
And that one's in the air to right center field. It's deep. Jason Worth is on the run. He's going to track it down. And Castillo's going to tag from third. So Beltran has 3 RBIs tonight. And the Mets lead at 3-1. And Castillo has scored 3 runs. And that well out in right center field is huge.
Right, really is. I mean, for a right-hander to go deep near the 415 in right center, it's quite a poke. But Jason Worth again running that ball down, and Beltran getting high five. See where the pitch is outside, and he hit it right where it was pitched. Drives the ball into right center.
Now with nobody on, Gary Sheffield bats. Sheffield has grounded out to the left side twice tonight. Once to third, once to shortstop.
And continues to throw fastballs in to Sheffield.
And he hits one hard foul. Jamie Moyer and Jimmy Rollins having a conversation. Looks like Jamie called Jimmy over.
There's no telling what he said.
Well, he pointed over toward Jimmy did. He pointed over toward where Chase Utley would normally be playing. Chase isn't there. Chase is, you know, just to Jimmy's left.
Yeah, have the shift on.
Yeah. This is the Ryan Howard shift, but to a right-handed hitter. A little cue shot foul, and it's 1-2. Now, I'm not sure what Jimmy said, but I'm wondering if he said to Ryan Howard, to Jamie Moyer, don't let him hit it there. And now he's pulling Ryan Howard over off the line a little bit.
Yeah, even though the ball might be outside, Sheffield usually dead pull hitter. Tries to pull just about everything, stands close to the plate.
And Ryan's got a pretty good run to get to first base if there's a ground ball. Thank goodness there was nobody in that camera well.
There's some of that pulling the ball again, and Sheffield 504 home runs, over 1,600 RBIs. Those are Hall of Fame numbers.
Two and two the count. Well, Gary Sheffield has 2,646 hits. And when he becomes eligible for the Hall of Fame, and you see his home run totals at 504 among the active leaders. Jim Thome at 552. I think there's going to be some debate about Gary Sheffield among the voters. Now, he has no debate as to whether he should be a Hall of Famer or not.
Well, stats speak for themselves. I mean, 500 home runs, 1,600 RBIs. A lot of time voters will vote on whether or not a player dominated or not. And you ask the pitchers that he's faced, they'll certainly tell you that.
And he stays alive by bouncing this foul. In this era, though, that we're living in, baseball era, you don't know if 500 home runs, and it means an awful lot, but if it's going to be a slam dunk the way it used to be.
Well, I mean, 500 is 500. Hey, you can look at it any kind of way you want. Those are a lot of taters, let me tell you.
It's 3-2 now to Sheffield. Well, the other thing that's going to follow Sheffield too is the old question about steroids.
Yeah.
Because, you know, he did use that cream. And he pulls that one left side. Phillies vacuums it up, and Ryan digs it out. And the inning is over. Mets, though, get another run on a sac fly by Carlos Beltran. We head to the sixth. It's 3-1 New York. Sorry, do you want to take your pick? Our Independence Blue Cross Phillies of the week are Chase Utley and Jason Worth. Chase has delivered with the bat throughout the road trip, and no at-bat was more important than his 11th inning game-winning home run. On the flip side, it is Jason who has glistened in the outfield, traveling all around Citi Field, defending his position and laying it all out for a Phillies win. This combo effort is brought to you by Independence Blue Cross. We're here for you every step of the way. Well, the Phillies are going to need a little magic like they had last night in tonight's ball game, because they trailed Tim Redding 3-1 as we move to the top of the sixth inning. Redding's allowed only 2 hits, and both hits came in the third inning of tonight's ball game. Back-to-back singles by Pedro Feliciano and Chris Coast, and now the third time through the order for the Phillies. It'll be Jimmy Rollins, Shane Victorino, and Chase Utley. Sarge, if you're at the top of the order, you're getting up for the third time. What are you looking for here?
Looking to try and get on base any way possible, whether or not it's a walk, whether or not it's a hit. See how he acts when you can get a few runners on base. Redding so far up to the task and making pretty good pitches.
Jimmy had a sac fly his last time up. He's accounted for the only run for the Phillies. And he loops one in the air, shallow left field. Sheffield on the run. He's not going to get there. He knocks the ball down. J-Roll stops at first. Nice play by Castillo to keep it around the second base bag. And as good a throw as Raul Ibanez had a couple innings ago from deep left field. Oh, that's how bad a throw Sheffield just made to second base.
Yeah, ball almost looked like it stuck to his fingers when he was throwing it. Now he comes in, he dives, and what he does, keeps the ball there. Then he gets up and picks and just fires that ball. A good play, though, by Castillo, because that ball would have been going near that right field line somewhere.
So for the third time tonight, the Phillies have the leadoff batter on. Jimmy, a good sized lead off first. And a throw over by Redding.
There's the difference where you'd have the Phillies outfielders that they play shallow. That ball probably would have been caught by Ibanez, but they have to play a little bit deeper, and Sheffield certainly plays deep, doesn't run as well as he used to.
Slide step by Redding, and the count is 1-0 to Shane. Shane's grounded out to second base. He's flied out to left, so he's 0 for 2 in tonight's ball game.
There's another slide step. That's pretty difficult to run on that. Usually a base runner, when he sees that, won't go. He's looking for that high leg kick. Takes more time to get to the plate.
Well, he tried to go in with the same pitch with the same way. That slide step to the plate, and this one was a little high and outside. It's 2-1.
Well, that's sometimes what happens when a pitcher goes to the slide step, loses control and also some velocity.
See Jimmy peering over at Tim Redding. He's got a good sized lead, as you can see, as he inches off that bag. He doesn't go, and it's popped up. Left side of the infield. One away. Well, the Phillies will return home after the 4th of July weekend to take on the Cincinnati Reds. Monday, July 6th at 7:05. It's the first of a 4-game series. All 4 games are at 7:05. And it finishes off on Thursday, July 9th at 7:05 with an Independence Blue Cross fireworks show after that ball game. You can order your tickets now at Phillies.com. And Reds lost today 3-2 to the Washington Nationals. Prior to that series against the Reds, the Phillies will be home against the Mets. Those tickets have gone pretty quickly for that series. And then they face the Reds and then the Pirates before the All-Star break. So it's a pretty long homestand. And Chase pulls one right inside the first base bag, down the right field line. Jimmy flying around the bases, heading to third. He's being waved home. Utley is heading to third, and then he stops. It's an RBI double for Chase Utley, and he keeps on hitting. And the Phils are within 1. It's 3-2.
Utley almost unsure whether or not Jimmy was going to go. He looked like he wanted to go for 3. J-Roll running hard all the way around. As you can see, Chase Utley's 12th double. So he continues to terrorize here the Mets. Now there goes Rollins here, and doesn't look like he's going to actually stop. Hits third base, going and makes that easily.
Well, for Jimmy, the 36th run he has scored this year. For Chase, the 42nd RBI for him. And he now has 9 RBIs on this road trip. And here's Ryan Howard. Give Jimmy some time to catch his breath over there in the dugout. Chase thought about taking that third base bag. He stopped about 3 or 4 steps around second.
Well, Wright will have to run over to third base to get the throw. He's off the bag just because of Howard.
On the outside corner, 0-2 to Ryan. And Ryan down on strikes. He went after a high fastball, and they're 2 away. Time now for our Geico quote of the day. And it comes from Charlie Manuel and Chase Utley. It's kind of nice to have Utley. I kind of like Utley. He's a special player. He's a tremendous player. And he loves to play, too. I can't talk enough about him. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. Charlie used to say how Kirby Puckett was his favorite player that he's managed. He also talked about playing with Harmon Killebrew. Well, Chase has kind of taken over from both of those guys as the favorite player of Charlie Manuel.
Plays every day, wants to play. Hard to keep him out of the lineup. Doesn't bail on left-handers. Gives you a solid at bat every time he's up at the plate. You like to take your chances on him. And obviously one of the better clutch hitters on the team.
No, 1 the count to Raul. And now no balls and 2 strikes.
Well, just keeping that ball out of the zone on Raul, and what he's doing with the left-handers, he's climbing the ladder on them. He doesn't throw hard, so a lot of times the hitters think they can get on top of the ball when he throws. Got Howard on a high fastball.
See Raul's numbers with runners in scoring position. It's dipped under 300. His batting average has. And Ibanez is struck out for the 2nd time tonight. That's the 5th strikeout for Tim Redding. Phillies do get 1 on the double by Utley. And he's stranded at 2nd. Bottom of the 6th inning. Phillies have drawn closer. They're within 1. As Jamie Moyer, who has thrown 89 pitches, will try to retire David Wright here. David is 2 for 2 in the ball game.
He needs to have himself a easy inning. Trying to get that momentum going there on his side. He's been in trouble here the last 3 innings.
Yeah, the Mets have had base runners. In fact, Jamie has not had a clean inning yet. He has not retired the Mets 1, 2, 3 in tonight's outing. And the count 1 ball and 1 strike to David Wright. But Jamie looked a little frustrated by that pitch.
Well, you know one thing, the hitters are feeling pretty comfortable and they're taking pretty healthy cuts. He's not getting guys off balance. He continues, however, to pitch inside. Any pitcher with success has to pitch inside.
He's done an awful lot tonight. It seems like even more so tonight than in his last few starts, just working it inside.
And the game plan, it looks like, for the Mets is try and hit the ball the other way. When you throw soft and the ball's up, easier to hit the ball to right field.
3-2 the count to Wright. Does hit it the opposite way, and he's got his 3rd base hit of the night. Wirth does a nice job getting over to cut that one off, and he holds David Wright to a leadoff single. And Wright, who was thrown out by Raul Ibanez trying to stretch a single into a double his last time up, was not taking any chances. Well, the Toronto Blue Jays are coming to town after this Red Sox series this weekend. SARS, their tickets still available for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday's ball game. Wednesday is a salute to Jackie Robinson. You can order your tickets now by logging on to Phillies.com. You going to spend some time with Cito Gaston this next week?
Of course.
Cito's done a very good job with that Blue Jays team. They're 7 games over 500.
Just a tough division.
Oh, very tough division. They began play tonight 2 games back behind the Boston Red Sox. And the Blue Jays are trailing the Texas Rangers right now in the bottom of the 3rd.
Texas Rangers have been playing very well this year in 1st place.
Fernando Tatis, a slow roller to 3rd. Feliz around the horn. Utley to 2nd for 1. Over to 1st in time. A 5-4-3 double play. And I didn't think that ball was hit hard enough for a double play.
Well, you got to tell you, though, Felice making up for the slow hit ground ball, and then Utley being able to turn that ball with something on it as he gets up in the air. Hardest double play to turn, that 5-4-3.
I think you're right, too, that Pedro put a lot on that throw, and Chase got rid of it very fast.
Well, you see how he catches that. Now he whips that ball and gives him a good throw. He gets up, Utley, and then he has another good throw.
Well, Tatis thought he was safe. Replay looked like it was another bang-bang play. Jamie Moyer came out. Let's see if he was safe or out. Well, we know he was out because the umpire called him out, and it looked like his foot may have been there just ahead of the throw.
Yeah, he's safe. They've had those close calls, you're right, the whole series, and can almost flip a coin there because it has been half and half. You know, when you're looking at it with the naked eye, it's awful tough, really, for the umpires to call that. A lot of times they'll go on sound. They're trying to look at the play at the same time. And obviously they're human and they can miss some.
Mike Winters was the umpire who made that call. Dan Iasonia, who's behind the plate tonight, had a couple of tight calls last night. A couple for the Mets that didn't go for the Mets. One that didn't go the way of the Phillies. And it's 2-2 to Martinez. The second base umpire, Lance Barksdale, had a tough call in the first game of the series as Jamie has reached the 100 pitch mark for the game. And he got Martinez on strikes for the second time tonight. So Jamie, over 100 pitches, has allowed just 3 runs in this ball game. And as we go to the top of the 7th inning, it'll be Jason Worth to lead things off.
Not a small ball here tonight in this game, especially by the Mets. Phillies have also produced a run tonight by getting some people over and getting them in, but the Mets have really done that effectively, and they have 3 runs to the Phils 2. Beltran has a double and 3 runs batted in. Chase Utley has another hit and another run batted in. Castillo has 3 hits, and so does David Wright. Jamie Moyer, as per his norm, Tom, against the New York Mets, he always does seem to pitch 6 innings at least, and he's 6 innings tonight.
Well, and he's scattered 8 base hits over those 6 innings. He's over 100 pitches, and he's due to bat 4th in this inning. And he's done a pretty nice job in this ball game.
No walks.
For the 3rd straight outing, no walks. Well, Jason Worth leads things off in the top of the 7th, and Jason takes a slider outside.
It really gives Jamie a chance to compete a little bit better because you know he's going to give up hits. So if he can limit walks and base runners that way, you know, he has a lot better chance to win the game.
Oh, plus his defense has really helped out again tonight. That double play by Phillies and Utley to end, or to put the first 2 outs on the board in the 6th.
Was he
out?
Huge. There's Clay Condrey.
It was bang bang. It looked like he was safe.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looked like he was safe. The play by Ibanez in left field on the David Wright base hit.
I'll tell you, this is like Fenway, only 200 feet deeper. And we've seen a couple. Yeah, we've seen a couple plays like that where they're playing the ball off the wall and throwing guys out at second.
One and 2 the count to Jason Worth, who is 0 for 2.
Tim Redding is, you know, he just pitches well against the Phillies. Plus, they're swinging a lot of non-strikes.
Redding last year with the Nationals established career highs in starts, innings pitched, and strikeouts by winning 10 games. And he picks up another strikeout. That's his 6th
on another non-strike. You know, you go back and through here and watch these at bats tonight and how many bad balls they've chased. Now, whether or not he's deceptive or not, you know, we don't know. But that's way out of the strike zone that Jason chases.
Pedro Feliciano is one of the base hits for the Phillies, who have just 4 hits so far in this game, and he lines another one into center field. So he has his second base hit of the night, and that is the 19th multi-hit game for Pedro this season. He had only 26 multi-hit games last year.
And he's catching the ball so well. You know, the one misplay on this road trip unfortunately cost him a game, but boy, he's made a lot of good plays in this series.
Well, Chris Costa is 1 for 2. Greg Dobbs has come out in the on-deck circle for the Phillies.
They do not have anybody up in their bullpen, do the Mets?
There is Greg. So Jamie Moyer's night is going to be done. At least it looks that way after 6 innings. Line drive down the left field line. That's going to be in for a base hit. Heading to the corner. Feliz around second, going to third. He's being held by Sam Perlazo. The throw gets away, but is tracked down by David Wright. It's a double for Chris Costa, and the Phillies have 2 in scoring position.
Chris Costa, a lot of doubles this year. That's his 8th 2-base hit of the season, and most of them go right there, down into that left field corner. See, they didn't have anybody up for Dobbs. And there it is, a high fastball, not a high fastball, but in the middle of the plate, and certainly was a strike, and Chris Costa does a nice job of hammering it into the corner. Dobbs is going to come out pinch, or now it's going to be Stairs is going to come out and pinch hit, and they're going to get somebody up quickly, but it's not a left-hander.
Yeah, it's Sean Green, the right-hander. So Matt Stairs is going to pinch hit instead of Greg Dobbs. I guess there's more of a thought that Stairs can get a fly ball here, Wills?
Probably, and less likely to hit a ground ball. Now they're going to come out and stall because Sean Green, Tom, is a ground ball pitcher. If they can get him ready fast enough. But it was really strange with a guy like Redding that they got to him this far and they didn't have anybody up as the inning began, even though it was the bottom of the order. But they had to figure the Phillies were going to hit for the pitcher in this inning.
Well, he's only thrown 82 pitches at this point, and he's been pretty comfortable.
Right, but I mean, in my opinion, with a guy like him who, you know, who's shaky at best, you got to have somebody up and ready if the Phillies kick up a fuss in a close game like this.
Then Iasonia breaks up the conversation on the mound. Matt Stairs 2 for 9 against Tim Redding with a home run.
This makes you think too that Feliciano may not be available tonight.
Well, he's pitched in back-to-back ball games against the Phillies. So here's Stairs with Feliz on third and Costa on second in the infield back. And Matt takes one for a strike on the outside corner. Early hitting yesterday, Matt seemed to be working on a lot of Rich Duby's pitches off the outside part of the plate. Same kind of pitch that you just saw there from Tim Redding. Try to backdoor him again, but it's outside 1-1.
Well, Redding wants to stay away from him here. He wants to stay away from him really driving one. You know, if he gets him to turn over a ground ball to second, they're comfortable with that tie game here at home in the 7th.
Outside 2-1.
See, everything's going to stay out there, and the idea being, okay, let him go out there and try and hook one, and we'll get a ground ball, get an out. We just have 2 outs, and it's a tie game.
Well, his splits are very good tonight. 60 strikes, 25 balls.
Yeah, he's done a good job of throwing strikes and non-strikes that they've chased.
And you figure he's not going to give in here to Stairs?
Well, you know, they have the lead. You know, I wouldn't think you want to throw him anything middle in, but if he, you know, he could try and throw a strike away and get him, you know, get something there. I think he has to, you know, necessarily walk him.
And he pulls it towards second base. It's going to get the run home. The game's going to be tied, but it's the second out of the inning. So the Phillies have tied this at 3.
That's what they wanted. And the Phillies get the game tied, and they're happy about that. But they wanted Stairs to try and hit a ball away and hook it into an out like that, and they got it.
Coast goes over to third. And Jimmy Rollins is now the batter. So an RBI for Matt Stairs as a pinch hitter. And Jamie Moyer will not receive a loss in this game.
There it is. You know, they just were committed to staying away from Matt. And in that case, you know, Matt's going to pull the ball for the most part, and they get the out, and the Phillies tie the game.
And Jimmy takes one low. Jimmy's 1 for 2 in this game. He singled his last time up. A base hit here would give the Phillies the lead. Phillies bullpen last night did an outstanding job in relief of Cole Hamels, who lasted just 5 innings. They went 6 scoreless innings last night.
They pitched out a lot of trouble. Did a heck of a job.
Two and 1 the count. By the way, Wheels, Pedro Feliciano has just joined Sean Green in the bullpen, so he is available at least for the Phillies left-handers. There he is.
Yeah, so he is available tonight, but they didn't want to use him in the 7th inning. They want him for those 3 left-handed hitters later, and not for a Stairs or a Dobbs. They just don't trust that Takahashi, I guess, in these kind of situations.
Yeah, he seems to be more of their long guy. Jimmy showed bunt, takes it low, and that has brought in the corners. They were way back.
Well, that's a pretty good play right there. He's thinking about dumping a bunt, getting a base hit, and Coast walking home.
Victorino waits on deck.
How deep everybody is.
And Jimmy sends it in the air to straightaway center field. That's going to be the inning. So the Phillies will have to settle for tying this ball game up here in the top of the 7th. They get a run home against Tim Redding. Time to stretch here at Citi Field. Jamie Moyer's night is done. He'll get a no decision.
Friday night, the Phils return home for a date with the Red Sox. After the game, close it out with expert analysis on Sloan Toyota presents Phillies postgame live. Phillies Red Sox Friday night at 7 on Comcast Sportsnet. Available in HD.
Outside Citi Field, we come inside where Clay Condrey is going to take the baseball for the Phillies. He'll take over for Jamie Moyer. Jamie was good tonight. He allowed 3 runs and scattered 8 hits over 6 innings. And now Clay Condrey's in for the 29th game. 4-1 with a 2.43 ERA. He did not pitch in last night's game. In fact, he was the only Phillies pitcher to not come into the ball game last night. Facing Omir Santos to start things off, who's 0 for 2. Santos has flied out twice, and both times to Jason Worth. And he chops this one towards shortstop. Jimmy takes it on 2 hops. 1 away. Oh, Wheels, the Major League Baseball amateur draft concluded today, and more than 1,500 players were selected by the Major League Baseball teams around the country. The Phillies took some familiar names late in the draft today. Kelly Dugan was the #1 pick. Dallas Green made that selection yesterday on behalf of the Phillies. And here are the last 9 picks today, including, that's a familiar name for you, right? Chris Gossick.
That's great. Really proud of Chris. His mom and dad, Mark and Don, I'm sure are thrilled by that. Chris's aunt Renee is also very happy. He's a great young man. Had a terrific high school career at Malvern Prep.
Uncle Wheels.
Yeah, it gives me that once in a while, yeah. But you know, he has a scholarship offer to East Carolina, and but he's drafted by the world champions.
That's exactly right.
And he's from a from the area, so that is really neat.
Well, Chris, if anybody doesn't know, at Malvern Prep, as Will said, 3 home runs his sophomore year in high school, 11 his junior year. Now, he's been injured for most of this season.
Well, he got hurt near the end of the season. He had a groin problem the last 3 weeks. I think that kind of set him back. Plus, they didn't pitch to him a whole lot this year.
Daniel Murphy, excuse me, up as a pinch hitter, lines out in place of Tim Redding, and there are 2 away. A couple other names that might be familiar names that the Phillies have selected this year include Corey Wine, and that's the great Bobby Wine's grandson, who played at Penn State, and Robert Amaro, Ruben Amaro Jr.'s nephew, is on his way to Virginia.
That's David's son, David Amaro's son, who played at Penn Charter and had a really nice high school career. Corey Wine, as you said, was a first baseman, left-handed hitting first baseman at Penn State. Played for his dad, Robbie, who's a head baseball coach up there.
Beautiful facility.
Great facility, yeah.
Corey Wine was a first baseman, as you saw there, and he set the record for putouts in Penn State history, and not only set it, he obliterated it. That just tells you he played a lot.
And they had a lot of ground ball pitchers, I guess.
With 307 this year, 5 home runs for Penn State.
Well, not easy to play, not necessarily easy to play for your dad, but Robbie told me a couple of times that Corey was a no-brainer for him. He's a great kid who worked hard, and he didn't have any trouble putting his name in the lineup every day.
Luis Castillo's 3 for 3 with 3 runs scored, and the count is 1-2 to him, or 2-2 to him, excuse me. Now, I was looking at some of Corey Wine's numbers. Where did he get the height from? He's 6'5".
He's really tall. Well, Robbie's about 6'2", 6'3", probably.
Nice play by Pedro Feliciano on the backhand, and Castillo is retired for the first time tonight. 1, 2, 3 go the Mets here in the 7th. On to the 8th, and Shane Victorino will start things off. Time now for the Dodge Stump the Fans Trivia Quiz answer. What is the Mets record for most runs and hits allowed in a game? Wills?
Well, I know the runs are 26. I don't remember how many hits. But the Phillies won that game big time when Von Hayes hit 2 in the first to get it started.
Well, this is the anniversary of that game. We will give you credit for that one. June 11th, 1985 at the Vet, 26 runs and 27 hits. That day, the Phillies were 15 for 28 with runners in scoring position.
Wow. Well, Von led off that game. He was a leadoff batter. He led off with a home run, and then later in the inning hit a slam.
Well, he had 6 RBIs, 4 runs scored in that game. Juan Samuel was 5 for 7 with 3 runs scored. Glenn Wilson had 4 runs scored and 3 RBIs, and Bo Diaz, well, he could hit. 3 for 4 with 3 RBIs and 3 runs scored.
Andy Musser and I did that game on Prism that night, and it was fun.
I remember hearing Andy's calls on the Von Hayes home runs, and I think he was as surprised as anybody that Von hit 2 in that 1 inning.
Well, they got off to a quick 1-0 start, and then it just mushroomed on the Mets.
Larry Anderson, by the way, in that game helped preserve the victory for the Phillies as Victorino loops one down the left field line. Cora got there quickly, and he's retired by Pedro Feliciano. Phillies baseball is brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 800-947-AUTO. By your local Chevy dealers, and by Bud Light Lime, the drinkability of Bud Light with the refreshing taste of lime. Larry Anderson in that game, excuse me, was 1 inning pitched, 1 walk, 1 strikeout.
Well, he really held them, didn't he?
He sure did.
It was good. There was a lot of pressure on the pitchers in that game. A lot of guys were getting their work that night on both sides.
Here's Chase Utley facing Feliciano, and he takes one outside.
I think of that left-hander that started the game for the Mets that night.
Tom Gorman.
It was Tom Gorman, right. Nice going.
Thank Carl for that one.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Carl. Carl Graber. Tom Gorman.
Chase is 1 for 3, and he's ahead 2-0. Tom Gorman lasted a third of an inning that night, allowed 6 runs on 4 hits.
Yeah, he threw the 2 homers to Von. Von Francis Hayes, 2 in the first, and that boat had a very sad ending. Nobody was hurt. I would just say that. You know, there was something happened, and it just had a malfunction. It blew up.
2-1 now to Utley. I hope it didn't blow up near a dock.
It was near a dock.
Okay.
Yeah, but there was nobody around evidently, and nobody got hurt, or I wouldn't kid about it.
There's Bobby Parnell, who's up and loosening in the pen. Two balls, one strike, the count to Chase Utley. Check swing, slow roller left side. Feliciano fooled him. And Chase still nearly beat it out, but he's retired by David Wright. 2 away.
Feliciano this year is just doing a tremendous job controlling these left-handed hitters in the Phillies lineup. And you know, that is such a big part of the games when you play the Mets. When it used to just be Utley and Howard. Of course, now you throw Ibanez in the mix. Phillies also picked another young man from the area, Tom, named David Hissey, and his brother Pete was picked by the Boston Red Sox last year. Pete's a center fielder, you know, a pretty good prospect for the Red Sox, and David, his son was, or his brother was picked today by the Phils. So, you know, a few local guys, which is
pretty
nice.
good.
Yeah.
Ryan Howard 0 for 3, and that 88-mile-an-hour fastball is over for strike 1. Ryan 4 for 27 now in his career against Feliciano.
They just don't even hit anything hard on him in these games so far this year. And Feliciano says he's changed his delivery a little bit. He's trying to quick pitch them once in a while, trying different arm angles, and whatever he's doing, it's all working. And as you mentioned last night, he's one of the few holdovers from last year's bullpen.
Well, they're not sure, but they may get another holdover back at some point this year. They may get Billy Wagner back by August, they say.
Yeah. Be a pretty good addition for them.
1-2 the count, or excuse me, 2-2 the count.
Good slider.
Another near capacity crowd here at Citi Field. And Ryan watches that one go by low.
See him quick pitching that time?
Yep.
Yeah, that's what he mentioned that the other day, that he's doing that. And, you know, the other pitches he was just in a normal, you know, big long delivery out of that stretch, and that time he threw a real quick pitch to him and tried to confuse him that way.
And Ryan works out a walk. That's a good at bat for Ryan Howard.
He took a 3-2 slider.
Oh no, now they're saying
that was 2-2.
See, we had 3-2, and I think Mike Winters.
It was 3-2. Yeah. The scoreboard had 2-2.
Right. We had 3-2 on our clicker up top there. So Howard's aboard, but another left-hander for Feliciano and Raul Ibanez. So it was a good at bat for Ryan Howard.
Absolutely. Even after the appeal was even better. Feliciano's not quite sure. He saw the scoreboard that 2-2. He's thinking he's got another shot at him.
He's thinking, why did I throw that pitch? Although he probably would have thrown the same one.
Yeah, I think he's going to try and throw a slider there to get him out.
Here's Ibanez, is 0 for 3. Raul has hit in 14 straight on the road.
Mets have a no doubles defense right now, very deep with the outfielders.
And a little squib up the first base line. Santos has it, and Ibanez is retired. So the inning is over. Feliciano retires the left-handers for the Phillies. We've played 7.5 minutes, even at 3.
This copyrighted telecast is presented by authority of the Phillies and may not be reproduced nor retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Phillies.
Well, the Phillies will return home this weekend to take on the Boston Red Sox. If you want to come out to the ballpark for more than one game, well, then the Grand Slam 4-pack is for you. You can customize your own 4-pack. You can pick a hot game like one of the Mets games coming up, the Friday Fireworks or the Bradley bobblehead, and then add 3 more of your liking. That's a Grand Slam 4-pack. You can order those now by logging on to Phillies.com. Again, we want to remind you that tomorrow night, the Phillies' wives are planning to save a pet at the ballpark. That's right. That's right. The Phillies' wives encourage fans to enter at the first base gates. at the ballpark as Alex Cora leads things off here in the 8th. And they'd like you to donate pet toys, gently used blankets that they will then donate to the Pennsylvania SPCA. So bring them out to the ballpark. Chopper back toward the middle. J-Roll has it. One away.
We have to go through Nittany's toy chest.
You got to get your dry cleaning done first before you do that.
Well, the dog certainly has enough toys. Could, you know, fill up a nice bag and maybe bring them tomorrow night.
Nittany is Wheels' big monster dog that he has at home.
She's a Shih Tzu and she's not real big. And it's pronounced Shih Tzu.
I didn't say it wasn't.
I know.
I would have said Shih Tzu.
That's why I got it before you.
Here's Beltran. And he takes one low. Beltran has all 3 RBIs tonight for the Mets. And the count is 1 ball, 1 strike. Well, some of the other things that are going on at the ballpark tomorrow, and it's actually a great thing that the Phillies' wives are doing. And they do a lot of great things in the community. As you see Scott Eyre in the bullpen. There'll be raffles that'll be going on that first base side. Mystery ball sale as Beltran pops it up and Coast is over. 2 away. So stop by the first base side at Citizens Bank Park. A reminder that this game will encore tonight at 10:30 p.m. Eastern and tomorrow at 6 a.m. on the Comcast network. There's 2 outs now. Here's Gary Sheffield, who is 0 for 3. And Sheffield loops one to left. Ibanez got a great jump, but it's another 1-2-3 inning for Clay Condrey. So the Phillies bullpen steps up once again. 2 scoreless for Condrey. So we head to the 9th. The game tied at 3.
They'll love the game and the giveaway with the Verizon Phillies Beach Towel, free to fans 14 and under July 7th. Order now at Phillies.com.
Hey fans, don't check the San Diego Padres off your calendar just yet. They're back in Philadelphia for one more game. That's the rescheduled rainout from earlier this year. It's Thursday, July 23rd. And you know what else? It's a Hatfield Dollar Dog Night. You can order your tickets now by logging on to Phillies.com. Again, the Padres and the Phillies, July 23rd at 7:05.
What a great job by Clay Condrey, Tom. Those 2 innings. He really struggled in the game the other night. Mets are going to make a cut double switch here, but he was outstanding here in those 2 innings.
Yeah, Jeremy Reed will come in to play left field. Bobby Parnell will come in to pitch. And it was Parnell who last night gave up the home run to Chase Utley. That turned out to be the game winner for the Phillies. 31st game for Parnell. 2-1 with a 2.25 ERA.
Shows you what they think of this kid, that they're going to throw him right back out there. And they're not going to go with a Rodriguez tonight and try to go with the 2 inning, or, you know, with the top of the 9th and then hope to win in the bottom of the 9th situation like they did last night. He wound up pitching a couple innings.
Jason Worth leads things off. And he takes a slider outside. So Reed bats in the number 9 spot. Parnell bats in Sheffield's spot, which is the number 4 hole. Jason's 0 for 3 tonight. Got a base hit against Parnell the other night. It went right up the middle. And that one's in the air to left center field. Reed on the run into the gap, has plenty of room. And there's one away.
Well, he's a much better defensive outfielder than Sheffield. And Jason hit that ball off the end of the bag. He seemed to pull off just a little bit, and he really didn't drive it, so he had time to get there.
Yeah, there was no chance that Sheffield would have caught that ball.
I don't think so. Not unless they had him on the warning track.
Like Chipper Jones?
Like Chipper used to play, yeah.
Pedro 2 for 3 tonight. His average up to 308. He hasn't homered in over 120 at-bats. And he breaks his bat, and he'll take another base hit. This one is center. 3-hit night for Pedro Feliz.
Yeah, that bat had some hits in it, but he'll sacrifice it.
Well, game 1 of this series came down to the wire. It was a 6-5 Mets win. Game 2, Phillies won on a home run by Chase Utley in the top of the 11th inning. That was a 1-run victory. And here is game 3. It's 3-3 in the 9th. And Mike Winters says that Chris Coast went around.
Greg Dobbs out to bat for Condrey, who mentioned did such a good job. Here's a look at it. And does he go around? Yep, he sure did.
Coast is 2 for 3 tonight. And he's down to the count 0-2.
Mets are guarding the line with David Wright, so there's a big hole in the left side for Coast, who hits a lot of balls down the line. But there you see the defense. But this guy, he's a little tougher to pull. Is Parnell.
There's Chad Durbin, who is up and tossing in the bullpen. Ryan Madson, I think, was in the background there.
Boy, this guy's stuff explodes. You know, he's got a fair slider and a really big time fastball.
And he got Coast on that slider. But he's down on strikes for the second out.
I may upgrade it from a fair slider. That was a nasty one. Just doesn't throw it that often. Throws a lot of fastballs. But this is a biter right here. Oof.
Oh boy. It started in a good spot and it finished in a better spot.
Forget the fair statement.
Now here's Greg Dobbs. Dobbs hitting 200 overall. Pinch hitting for Clay Condrey. Greg Dobbs really catapulted himself on the Phillies center stage a couple of years ago with a grand slam against the Mets at Shea Stadium
on a Sunday afternoon.
5 for 29 as a pinch hitter this year.
Outfielders are so deep that even though Phillies doesn't run all that well, except for Beltran, he's cheating a little bit. He can get to third base. Here you see now it's not as big a deal, of course, with 2 outs, but you would like to get him over there if you could.
One and one the count to Dobbs.
I mean, the Mets are playing their defense this way to make a couple of hits, beat them. Yeah, but you get the guy to third, then you don't have to worry about him trying to score from second.
Dobbs slices it to left field. Reed had him played perfectly, and the inning is over. So the Phillies strand one here at the top of the 9th inning. That means we head to the bottom of the 9th. Parnell bounces back from last night. Game tied at 3. Going to the bottom of the 9th. Tonight on Sports Night, highlights and post-game reactions from here at Citi Field, plus a recap of the Eagles' latest organized team activities. And a look at a few local NBA hopefuls trying to catch the eye of the Sixers. All this and more on Sports Night after the ball game on Comcast Sportsnet. A couple of local pro players who are involved in this year's NBA draft include Deontay Christmas from the Temple Owls, Ahmad Nivens from St. Joseph's. Here's Chad Durbin in his 30th game, 1-2 with a 4.31 ERA. And Chad is going to pick up for Clay Condrey, who was outstanding. 2 scoreless innings for Clay. And Durbin with the game tied at 3. Facing 5, 6, and 7 for the Mets here in the bottom of the 9th inning. David Wright is 3 for 3. Raised his batting average to .363. He came in tied with Miguel Tejada for the lead in the National League in batting average at .354.
He had his opposite field stroke working tonight, trying to hit Jamie Moyer the other way. Now the Phillies will put Feliz on the line and play the outfield pretty deep.
Durbin has had David Wright's number, and a lot of that is because of the sliders. If Chad can throw the slider for strikes, you see the defensive setup, and he is effective against these right-handed hitters. He broke his bat on that one, and Jason Worth is going to retire Wright, 1 away.
Well, he got a great jump on that. That's a tough play too. The guy takes a full swing, and David Wright's not some right-handed hitter you think can't knock the ball over your head either. He has great power the other way, and Jason read that perfectly. That ball has the potential to dunk in front of you.
Well, the more you watch this Phillies outfield, the more you respect just the defense as a whole.
Amen.
From left to right.
They have played very well. The three guys that are out there have been outstanding defensively. Ibanez has been so much better than anybody thought he would be.
And he's got 5 assists, including 1 tonight. Overall, the 3 have combined for 10 outfield assists.
Yeah, Raul has really learned how to play that wall.
Yeah.
Tell you, it's like it's at Fenway.
Fernando Tatis 1 for 3. And it's 1 ball and 1 strike.
Oh, we remember this one. The breaking ball and a game winner in extra innings.
Well, Durbin's worked ahead 1 and 2 here. You know, it was at this point last year the Phillies had a lead in the National League East over the Mets, and then they went into interleague play. They wound up struggling in interleague play. They won just 3 games, 3 of their 14. And that one was right over the third base bag.
That's why you guard the line, you know, late in a game. Now that ball was dribbled. So Pedro may have been able to make it even if he were in a normal third base position, but then it would have been a really tough throw. So you gamble there and give up a single in the hole to guard the line and prevent an extra base hit.
Well, now Charlie Manuel is going to come out to the mound with 2 outs and nobody on. And instead of Durbin facing Fernando Martinez, he's going to bring in a left-hander, probably Eyre. He had been loosening up. So Charlie got 2 outs from Durbin. Phillies bullpen now 2 2/3 scoreless in this ball game. So Durbin's night is done. Charlie Manuel will bring in Scott Eyre, and he'll be facing the rookie Fernando Martinez when we get back. Well, back here at Citi Field, the Phillies and the Mets tied at 3 in the bottom of the 9th inning, and Charlie Manuel is making a pitching change. He's going to bring his left-hander Scott Eyre in the game. This is Eyre's 25th appearance of the season. Not only that, he's reaching a personal milestone tonight. This is his 600th career appearance in a big league uniform, and he's done himself some pretty good justice this year. No wins, a loss, a 2.63 ERA.
Well, they felt comfortable. They wouldn't bring the only right-handed hitter they have on the bench out, Valdez, in this situation. So they want to go left Eyre against a kid who's never seen him.
Fernando Martinez 0 for 2 with a hit by pitch, and Eyre promptly throws a strike to start it off. Phillies bullpen tonight, just like last night, has held this Mets team scoreless. They have really done a good job these last couple of games. Breaks his bat. Feliz ranges over and makes the grab, and he'll just venture right into the dugout, and the inning is over. So Eyre throws 2 pitches, gets the last out here in the 9th. It's time for extra innings again, folks, with Jimmy Rollins to lead it off in the 10th. Well, last night it took 11 innings for the Phillies to defeat the Mets. Tonight it's a 3-3 game as we go to the top of the 10th inning. And Phillies will send the top of the order up, and this is how the Phillies scored tonight. Sacrifice fly by Jimmy Rollins.
Jimmy Rollins with a sacrifice fly after they manufactured that run. Did a good job getting Phillies over. And then Mr. Reliable, Chase Utley, he just kills the Mets, especially up here in New York. Doubles in Jimmy. And then the 7th inning, Matt Stairs with the infield back runner at third. Feliz again. 3 runs for the Phillies, 3 runs for the Mets. Here we go again.
Jimmy Rollins tonight is 1 for 3. As you saw that sac fly, he also has singled and scored. He scored on the double by Utley.
3rd extra inning game on this trip.
Phillies have won 1 and lost 1 on this road trip. And Jimmy takes one outside. It's 1-0.
Been a long trip.
Phillies 6-3 on this road trip.
Yep, trying to add another one to that win column.
They began the trip by winning the first 4 games, 3 against San Diego, 1 against Los Angeles. And they were leading the next 2 in the 9th inning against the Dodgers. They wound up losing both of those and then wound up winning on Sunday. And it's 3-0 now to Jimmy Rollins.
They did that double switch, did the Mets, so Parnell could pitch a couple of innings. So here he is in his 2nd.
He allowed a base hit in the 9th inning, but also picked up a strikeout and 2 fly ball outs to Reed. There's Takahashi, who's up and loosening in the pen for the Mets.
So they are thinking about him for the left-handed batters.
Jimmy taken all the way, and it's 3-1. Base runners, that's what the Phillies are looking for right here.
This guy works fast.
And Jimmy just tried to stay alive on that fastball.
That was what they call an emergency swing.
The Phillies won last night's ball game at extra innings, so they're now 5-2 with free baseball. And the Mets, meanwhile, are 3-4 in extra inning games. Jimmy pops it up. Wright's got room over toward the rail, and he doesn't have to touch the rail.
And that may have been ball 4 too, and I think he knows it. This guy's got some serious fastball, and you don't have a lot of time to react, but that looked like may have been high. Let's see. Yep. And it's very, very difficult pitch to drive, do anything with, to get on top when you throw that hard.
It's probably a tough pitch to take too, because of where it's located.
Exactly, and you know it's hard down there. You got a split second to pick up. Yeah, and he's popped it up.
Yeah, he's thrown it at 97 miles an hour.
Yeah, this guy's got some arm.
Well, he's found the slot because he started out this inning by throwing 3 straight out of the strike zone to Rollins, and now he's come back and started firing strikes. Victorino's 0 for 4. He has just 1 hit in this series.
Looks like he mixes in a slider once in a while and has a little trouble with that. But instead of just throwing all fastballs, and Victorino's the kind of guy you want to throw a breaking ball to. Boy, it's really foggy here right now. Wow.
Sounds like they've stopped landing planes too.
Yeah, you know what? That's a good point. They may have shut down LaGuardia.
Three balls, 1 strike the count to Victorino.
Well, the Phillies, to their credit, Tom, are trying to get on base. There's that fog that's really started to roll in now.
And I can hear a plane overhead,
Yep.
Bill, so they haven't shut it down yet.
They haven't shut it down. They're still taking them off.
Yep. Back toward the middle, and that's going to sneak into center field, a base hit. Victorino with just his 2nd hit of this series, and he's aboard here in the top of the 10th inning.
Well, this is the kind of guy he was meant to hit face, because Shane Victorino is a fastball hitter. Now here's Chase Utley, who's going to face Takahashi. This is what he did last night. Won the game off Parnell with a home run, and he will not face him tonight.
So Bobby Parnell's night is done, and Takahashi's going to commit to this ball game for New York to face the Phillies left-hander. So a pitching change here at Citi Field, and the 4th pitcher of the night for the Mets is coming in.
It's truly surreal. I never imagined I would be able to do as well, be in an opportunity where, be able to give something to the Hall of Fame.
It's a Phillies World Series weekend, June 27th and 28th in Cooperstown. A full weekend of Phillies fun is on tap, including a special Phillies fan tour and Phillies trivia all weekend long.
Relive baseball's greatest thrills in the 2008 World Series, only in Cooperstown at the Baseball Hall of Fame.
Well, the Phillies have a base runner here in the top of the 10th inning, and they're going to face a brand new pitcher for the first time in this series. Ken Takahashi is going to come on. This is his 13th game, and he's got no wins, a loss, 2.40 ERA. Now, lefties have hit him pretty good. Right-handers have not hit him that well. It's limited at bats, but he's coming on here to face Chase Utley for the first time. He did face the Phillies earlier this season, but he did not face Utley in that game. And it's going to take some time for Victorino to read him, I think, over at first base. But the Phillies have only stolen one base in this series.
Yeah, Takahashi he made his major league debut against the Phillies in a game in Philadelphia. What, age 40?
Mm-hmm.
Pretty old major league debut.
Yeah, he pitched in Japan for Hiroshima, won 66 games for them from 1995 to 2008. And was originally signed by the Blue Jays in February and then was released in spring training.
He's going to come in, throw a lot of sliders probably. He's got kind of a funky motion and jumps at the hitter. Doesn't throw real hard, but harder than you think. I mean, I remember he was around 88, 90, somewhere in that area, which is pretty good.
Plus, he's got a funky delivery to the plate from the stretch.
Very funky. Like I said, he jumps at the hitter.
Utley has worked ahead, 2 balls and no strikes with 1 out here in the top of the 10th. Chase a little out in front of that one, so it's 2-1.
Well, the latest report on him has him 84 to 87 with his fastball. But you think he's going to throw a lot of junk now.
Can they run against him?
Pretty good times, and he uses a slide step, as we've seen. He's quick to the plate, so it's tough.
Well, Chase now ahead, 3 balls and 1 strike.
All off-speed pitches so far.
Ryan Howard waits on deck. The Mets used Feliciano in the 8th inning. So they used him for just 1 inning. And this is the only other left-hander that they have. Ball 4, and the Phillies have runners on first and second. So 2 runners on. David Wright going over to the mound to talk to Takahashi. Sean Green is in the bullpen, and it looks like he's ready. He's been firing the last couple innings.
Well, you have 2 more left-handed hitters in Howard Ibanez and then Worth. Well, you would think that that's what they're saving Green for, but you never know. He's such a ground ball machine. Jerry Manuel's call on whether he would think about using a right-hander against one of these left-handed hitters. Certainly not going to be against Howard.
So Victorino's on second, Utley's on first in a 3-3 game. Second straight extra inning game. And it's 1-0 to Howard. It looked like Victorino wanted to take off on that one. He stuttered a little bit at second base.
Yeah, and Cora just came in and said something to Takahashi.
Yeah, he didn't even bother looking at Shane before he threw that first pitch. Phillies 0 for 7 with runners in scoring position tonight.
Boy, Utley looked like he thought Victorino was going to go there, and he really broke off first.
It's almost as if he wants Victorino to go there.
Yeah, thankfully he threw the brakes on.
If Shane gets a good jump, as you see his lead, David Wright is wide of that third base bag. And it's 1-2 now to Howard.
And now with 2 strikes on Ryan Howard, you don't want to be jitterbugging around out there. He didn't go early, missed the opportunity if he could have gone. And all that does is distract the hitter.
Ryan has come through late in games. 15 go-ahead RBIs. He's got 2 runners on here with 1 out. And he stays alive, and the count holds 1-2. And Ryan is down on strikes for the 2nd time in this game. Man, I thought that matchup favored him.
Well, he got a fastball too, and the board had 90. That's what we remember him throwing. And the reports had him at 87, but he threw a fastball there, according to radar here at 90. He threw a lot of off-speed pitches again, breaking balls and change-ups to Ryan Howard. See those things going down? Those look like change-ups. And he fouled off a fastball. Another foul ball. And then he threw a fastball right in the hitting zone.
So 2 outs, and here's Ibanez, who is hitless tonight in 4 plate appearances. His average at .319. He's tied for the league lead in RBIs with 55. He's tied with Prince Fielder. And he's 1 away from the major league lead coming into tonight's ball game. There go the runners, and the pitch is hit foul. Well, they both had the bases stolen.
Right, and it's not as big a deal now with 2 outs. So Ibanez didn't want to get behind in the count, evidently. He saw a pitch he liked. It was something off speed, and he swung at it.
A little quick pitch. Didn't allow the runners to even think about taking a jump. And it's 1-1. Mets fans trying to get a chant going here. Phillies fans trying to close them out. And Ibanez sends one in the air deep to right center field. On the run is Martinez to the wall. It's gone into the bullpen. A 3-run shot for Ibanez. And the Phillies take the lead here in the top of the 10th inning. 6-3. Man, did that ball take off.
It's really foggy here. That thing might have gotten on the radar at LaGuardia.
Wow.
It looked like it would have left the bat. You thought, man, that's got a chance to be a double.
That's what I was thinking. And it took off.
And that's over 400 feet he hits this thing. Takahashi throws that was another changeup. And it was down. And this guy is a good low ball hitter, Tom. And boink right into the Met and deep into the Mets bullpen, too. Not just over the fence, well over the fence. What a player Raul Ibanez is for this baseball team.
21st home run of the year. Takahashi's night is done. The Phillies' night, well, it's gotten even better. And so did the night for Cheryl Stern of Drescher, PA. She's just won $100. Compliments of the McDonald's home run jackpot. 21 home runs, 58 RBIs for Ibanez. And we've got a pitching change.
Tomorrow at 5, we are live on DNL from Citizens Bank Park as the Phillies begin a weekend interleague series against the Red Sox. Phillies postgame analyst Ricky Pitalico joins us in addition to a plethora of guests from the yard. Former Eagle Mark McMillan stopped by to talk birds in the NFL. A look back at Game 4 of the NBA Finals. Latest on the Sixers as they get ready for the upcoming NBA draft. And we close it out with headliners. Tomorrow at 5.
Well, that man was one heck of a pickup this offseason, and he continues to pay dividends. Raul Ibanez, a 3-run home run, has given the Phillies a 6-3 lead as Sean Green takes over for the Mets. On a ball to the gap in right center field that went well over 400 feet. Takahashi came in with something down, and he just golfed it.
Yeah, it was a changeup. He'd been throwing a lot of changeups since he came into the game anyway, and That thing was down, and you know, left-handed hitters, they love it down there.
21 home runs for Raul. 58 RBIs.
And Scott Eyre in his 600th career appearance with 1 out is a pitcher of record, Tom.
Worth goes down swinging, but the damage is done. The Phillies scored 3 runs in this inning on a home run by Raul Ibanez. Let's listen in to our friends on the Spanish Baseball Network on the call.
La carrera hizo encima en la segunda base. Lanzamiento viene. Elevado hacia el bloque derecho, profundo. Atrás la buscando Martínez. Atrás. ¡Esa pelota! ¡Nos regresa! Raúl Ibanez. ¡Qué tablazo aquí!
The drama continues against the Rockies Tuesday, August 4th through the 6th, when all fans receive a Citizens Bank Pride of the Phillies poster and Kids Run the Bases courtesy Modell's. Order at Phillies.com.
Phillies lead it by 3, and it's time for Ryan Madson here at the bottom of the 10th inning. Ryan on to try to pick up another save. He saved last night's game. This is his 31st appearance. 2-1 with a 2.15 ERA. 3 saves in 4 opportunities, but last night was his first opportunity in place of Brad Lidge, who was placed on the disabled list a couple days ago. And he's got a 3-run lead to work with, and he'll face 8, 9, and 1. It's Santos, Reed, and then Castillo. Jeremy Reed came on as part of a double switch a few innings ago, so that's why he's batting in the number 9 spot. And there's Brad looking on.
Ryan Madson's biggest fan.
Big time.
Yep. He really supports him.
Well, he did so much last year, I think, to put Ryan Madson into the place that he's in right now as a relief pitcher.
He really encouraged him, really told him that he had the ability to do these kind of things.
Santos is 0 for 3, and he takes one, I guess, a little outside. Maybe high. It's 1-0. That's in for strike one. 94 miles an hour from Madson. You know, so many folks talk about that Phillies bullpen last year and how good they were. And the seed was really planted the year before with Brett Myers as the closer and Tom Gordon in there too. You know, the competitiveness that they had for each other as Santos starts this inning off with a single to right field. So he's aboard to begin the bottom of the 10th. And that competition really carried over to last year with some fresh faces. And a lot of folks credit Brad Lidge and Chad Durbin for even more than the success they had, but really how they got everybody else rolling in the right direction too. So Madson now will work with a runner on first. And here's Jeremy Reed. Hitting .323 overall. This is his first at bat of the night.
Phillies do not have the infield at double play depth because they want an out here. Play the infield at double play depth, you're vulnerable then to balls shooting through a little quicker because you're more up into this area as opposed to where the middle infielders are right now. And they're back where they're just trying to catch a ground ball and get an out. They get 2, that's fine.
Good changeup. 0-2. Now, will that change if there's an out recorded?
Not necessarily, because the double play is just not that, you know, it would end the game. But when you pull your infielders up, it leaves room to shoot cheap ground balls through to keep an inning alive. So normally you're going to play back more when you have a lead like this.
No balls, 2 strikes, the count to Reed.
So coach tried to get him to throw a high fastball there and hope he would chase after those pitches that were down.
Little looper right side. Chase Utley is there. And there's one out here in the bottom of the 10th inning. Boy, that was a good pitch right in on the hands.
Good fastball.
And Santos remains at first.
Now with a guy like Castillo, you know, you're going to have a tendency to play your infielders closer anyway because he's so fast.
Yeah, Ryan Madson just said that to Ryan Howard. They talked about in a very brief exchange where Ryan was going to play, but Madson also said look out for the bunt.
Yeah, Castillo, it doesn't run like he used to, but he can still slap it around or bunt.
Feliz is in at third. He does show bunt, takes one at the knees for a strike. He's had a good night. He's 3 for 4. He has scored all 3 runs for the Mets.
This guy still has some miles left in that tank. They signed him to a long-term contract too.
Back toward the middle. Nice play by Madson to second for 1. What a play by J-Roll. And they don't turn 2, but they get the lead runner.
Oh, boy. That was one of those no, nice play. Because we just got finished talking about how the double play is great, ends a game, but the most important thing is 3 outs. And, you know, that play can have a disaster. But, you know, Ryan Madson led him well across the bag. So it looked out, it's okay.
Yeah, he threw it before Jimmy was even at the
right. And that would have been great if it ended, but, you know, not the worst thing in the world. Throw that ball to first, 2 outs. Man on second.
You okay?
I'm good, but I'm telling you, that's one of those no, nice play.
So 2 outs now for Cora with a runner at first. Castillo's not being held on. And it's 0-1 to Alex Cora, who is 0 for 2 with 2 sacrifices. Phillies lead it 6-3 thanks to a 3-run home run by Raul Ibanez. Oh, and 2 the count. Now Madson is just 1 strike away.
Yeah, and they want to keep that Beltran away from home plate as a tying run. That was a good fastball. Let's see where they want to go.
Runner goes, pitches low, and Coast doesn't even bother to look at him. Just gets a new baseball, and Castillo's at second.
Well, I threw change up, try to get him to chase. Fielder's choice there. No stolen base.
Phillies try to take 2 of 3 from the Mets, win their 7th game on this road trip. The 1-2 pitch. Got him. Change up, and Cora's down on strikes, and the Phillies have taken 2 of 3 from the Mets. They've won 7 on this road trip, and again they come from behind and win it tonight in extra innings. And not only that, but they also increased their lead in the division to 4 games over the Mets. And how about this bullpen? Raul Ibanez is our Chevrolet player of the game, but the bullpen for the 2nd straight night worked perfect innings. 4 scoreless tonight, and they have helped the Phillies pick up another victory, and another save for Ryan Madson. Well, our W.B. Mason delivery of the game, what do you think, folks?
I don't know. Oh, yeah. It's Raul Ibanez's home run. Looked like a changeup from Takahashi, and that is a long home run on a murky, miserable night, up into the fog and out to right center field. And this guy is just an amazing player. That's our W.B. Mason delivery of the game.
21st home run of the year for Ibanez. The Phillies win it 6-3. Now for a look at what's coming up on Comcast Sportsnet. Let's go back to the studio with Amy Fadul.
Thanks, guys. Coming up on Toyota Sports Night after Phillies post-game live, our Derek Gunn has major news on Donovan McNabb's contract status. Plus, the Eagles get one of their big draft picks to sign on the dotted line. Find out which of these players got inked and who still has contract work to do. The Sixers take a closer look at Wayne Ellington and Deontay Christmas. How do the local stars feel about making the jump to the NBA? And we have much more on tonight's Phillies-Mets rubber match. Comcast Sportsnet, the only local TV station at Citi Field. Our Kevin Walsh has a live report. All that and more when Ron Burke joins me for Toyota Sports Night. But now we send it back up to Queens after this short break.
Well, what a road trip for the Phillies. They finished 7-3 thanks to another extra inning win tonight here at Citi Field. A 3-run home run by Raul Ibanez gave the Phillies over the New York Mets. Scott Eyre got the win. He's 1-1. Bobby Parnell loses it for the second straight night. And Ryan Madson picks up his second consecutive save. So the Phillies win at 6-3. Our next telecast will be tomorrow versus the Red Sox at 7 p.m. on Comcast Sportsnet. The producer of Phillies baseball is Jeff Halleckman. John DeSangro is the associate producer, and our director has been Ray Tipton. Now for Chris Wheeler, Gary Matthews, and our entire crew here in New York, I'm Tom McCarthy. Once again, the final, the Phillies win at 6-3. Now stay tuned for Toyota Sports Night, featuring Phillies post-game live.
Coming up.
It may be June, but it feels like September baseball in New York. We're the only local station with live post-game reaction from the Phillies clubhouse.
The 0-2 pitch, swing and a miss, struck him out.
And Brad Lidge addresses rumors that this championship celebration was the cause for his knee issues this season. Eddie Jordan hopes to bring a championship to Philadelphia. And today, the Sixers worked out an Atlantic 10 champ and a national champion in preparation for the NBA draft.
I would love to, come back here to Philly and play here.
Andy Reid updates the health status of Brian Westbrook and has the scoop on Donovan as the possibility of a new deal remains on the horizon.
We're talking about practice, man.
One of the Eagles veterans has a bit of an Allen Iverson moment as OTAs come to a close.
It's funny to me, too.
Live from the Comcast Sportsnet studios, this is Sports Night, brought to you by Toyota.
Comcast Sportsnet's Derek Gunn is reporting in this CSN alert that the Eagles and quarterback Donovan McNabb have agreed to new terms of the quarterback's contract. When we get details, we will pass those along to you, and Derek Gunn will be joining us here on Toyota Sports Night coming up.
Lots to get to tonight, right? We are off and running here on Toyota Sports Night alongside Ron Burke. I am Amy Fadul.
Again, Derek Gunn will be checking in later here on Toyota Sports Night. We will have more on the Eagles and Donovan McNabb's restructured contract coming up here on tonight's show. But first, we begin by sending it to Greg Murphy and Mitch Williams for Sloan Toyota Presents Phillies Postgame Live. Guys?
Now, and Ibanez sends one in the air deep to right center field. On the run is Martinez to the wall. It's gone! Into the bullpen! A 3-run shot for Ibanez! And the Phillies take the lead here at the top of the 10th inning, 6-3. Man, did that ball take off.
It sure did, and it was good for 3 and good enough for the win. You can even hear in New York City at Citi Field the Raul chants. He does it again. Raul Ibanez winning the game for the Fightin' Phils. What a game it was. Phils take 2 of 3 in New York. Welcome into Phillies Postgame Live. I'm Greg Murphy, joined by Mitch Williams, and we were sitting here watching that. We said, this is a good time, Raul. He had struggled all game. He went down and got that pitch. And
he's a high ball hitter, but when you have a left-handed pitcher on the mound, the left-handed pitcher made the mistake of throwing him a changeup that ran to the inside part of the plate and down. If he's a high ball hitter, with fastballs, naturally he's going to be a breaking ball down and in hitter, and he did a great job putting the bat on that ball.
In the big picture of things, when you stop and think, all right, they take 2 of 3 in New York, a terrific road trip. They finished 7-3 on this road trip that took them out to the West Coast, then brought them back to play at Citi Field. And Raul Ibanez, he just does it. He continues to do it over and over. And as I said, he was 0 for 4 in this game going into that at bat. But time and time again, he sees one pitch in a game and he turns things around.
Well, it's like I said from the beginning of the year, I thought it was a mistake to get him.
Yeah. How's that working out for you?
Yeah, I mean, he can hit left-handed pitching. Obviously, I hadn't seen much of him. I just didn't like the fact that 3 left-handers in a row, this guy can hit. He can flat out hit, and it doesn't matter what kind of guy's out there.
Any surprise that would be our drive of the game? No doubt about it. The three-run home run that wins the game for them. The drive of the game tonight here on Phillies postgame. We'll take another look. Some Philly fans up there watching in the 10th inning. 2 men on, 2 outs, and Raul Ibanez does it. As Mitch said, he went for that low inside pitch in his wheelhouse. Really goes down and gets it, and it just clears the fence in right center field. But just again and again, Raul Ibanez doing it, a fan favorite, obviously, leading the All-Star voting right now, deservedly. And I said to you as we watched that one fly out, I mean, you seriously have to start thinking about this guy. And I know it's only June, but you have to talk about him in the MVP category right now for the league.
Well, there's no question. It's one thing. I mean, last year at the All-Star break, Ryan Howard led in home runs and RBIs. Raul Ibanez is now leading the team in home runs. He's one behind Gonzalez, leading the league in RBIs, and he's hitting over 300. Those are MVP caliber numbers. If he continues this, he most definitely will be in the discussion at the end of the year.
All right, well, let's talk about how we got there because, you know, for the first 7 to 8 innings of this game, not a whole lot happened. A couple sac flies for runs, a ground out here and there, scored some runs. But the Phils, Jamie Moyer gives way after 6 innings, and he pitched well. We'll talk about Jamie. But then the bullpen comes out, and again, they do what they've been doing now for a couple weeks. It was Condrey, it was Durbin and Eyre, and then Madson comes in and shuts it down. This bullpen, all of a sudden, is starting to feel like the bullpen that we saw all of last year.
Well, the thing about it is when they have their roles defined, they've been unbelievably good. They were great all year last year. Brad Lidge, he struggled a little bit this year. Everyone else had their times that they struggled. They got through it. They've got their feet under them now. Scott Eyre's done a good job. I think what Madson's done, I mean, that's 24 outings that he hadn't been scored on. This kid has turned the corner. He knows he can pitch. If the bullpen continues to do this, why Brad gets healthy and we get him back and he's back to full strength, this bullpen is right back to what it was last year.
10 shutout innings over the last 2 games for the bullpen. They've allowed just 6 hits in that time, and, you know, really can't come at a better time than when you're playing the New York Mets in their ballpark. Every game in this series was close. You remember, even the game the Phils lost, obviously that was a close one as well. So, yeah, everything's starting to click right now for the Phils. And, you know, I guess I saw it in the paper today, but someone said, you know, that the Phils are gamers, and the Mets know it. And you can almost see it. It's like they're down, but they are never out when they're playing this team.
It does not matter. And it's not just the Mets. It's any team.
That's true.
If I'm a starting pitcher on this team, I love life. Because I can go out there in the first inning and actually give up a 3 spot and know that the game is nowhere near over.
Yeah.
I've been on teams that if you gave up 3 runs in the first inning, game over, the rest of the lineup mailed it in, we can't come back and win. I've seen this team, Cole Hamels give up 9 runs in the 4th last year to go down 9-4, and the Phillies came back and won. They do not quit. The lineup does not care what the score is. They are going to continue to battle.
Yeah, we just were looking at what they'd done on this road trip, and before they went out on the road trip, you looked at it and you said, well, it's tough. You're going out there, you're playing a good Dodgers team. You have San Diego, you're playing a good Dodgers team, then you got to come back across the country, play the Mets. They go 7-3 on that trip. The team batting average up around 260, ERA about 2.5 as well. Really, all facets of the game. And if you stop to think about it, and if you can play the what-if game, what if Brad Lidge shuts them down in L.A., all of a sudden you're talking about a 9-1 road trip, which is something they did last time that they went out on the road.
It's honestly, it's scary. When they got to San Diego, if I'm not mistaken, San Diego was in the midst of a 10-game winning streak.
That's right.
They blew in there, swept them, went to L.A., had the first 2 games won. Brad ran into a little bit of trouble. They didn't get those won. If you go to San Diego, stop a 10-game winning streak with a 3-game sweep, go to L.A., who has the best record in Major League Baseball, sweep them, and then come play New York, it's a sick road trip. It really is. These guys just play the game, and it doesn't matter whose field it's on.
Yeah, and before they went out on that road trip, you'll remember 3 games against the Nationals as well. So they went out on that road trip on a little bit of a streak as well. Playing very good baseball now are the Phils. And just a couple minutes ago, Raul Ibanez joining our Kevin Walsh, who is up there at Citi Field. This is what Raul Ibanez had to say after the game.
2-1. Here with Raul Ibanez. Tell me about the home run.
You know, I was just trying to put a good swing on the ball, put a nice, easy swing. I've been swinging a little hard today. And some of the at-bats yesterday, just missing some balls yesterday. And today, you know, been swinging a little too hard and just tried to do a little bit less and, try to drive in the run from second base. And, all you needed was a single, and that's kind of the way it works. A lot of times you try to do less and it winds up being more, and you try to do more and it winds up being less. The at-bat before, I swung real hard and the ball went 4 feet. So, that at-bat, I just tried to put an easy swing on the ball.
Second straight game you guys have come from behind and won in extra innings. What does this say about the resiliency of this team?
Yeah, it's definitely a resilient club. I'm really proud to be associated with this team and be a part of it. And this team never gives in. And, to the Mets' credit, these 3 games were a lot of fun to be a part of, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement. They battled their tails off, too. And, it's 2 pretty evenly matched clubs going at it, going head-to-head, and nobody's giving anything away, so it's a lot of fun to be part of.
Does this send a message to the Mets?
I'm not into sending messages or anything like that. I'm just into us playing our game and playing it the right way and playing hard every day and trying to win every game. It doesn't matter who you're playing. If you're playing the Mets or you're playing any team, you got to go after it the same way and try to win every game.
Second successful long road trip. The last one you were 8-2. This one 7-3. What confidence do you take going back home from this road trip and the last one, considering you guys have struggled at home?
I think if you play well, you're always going to play well at home, and our team's always going to play well at home. With our great home fans behind us, there's always a lot of energy and excitement there, and I think that'll turn around, and if you can play really well on the road, eventually I think you're going to play well at home.
All right, Raul, thanks very much. Guys, back to you.
All right, Kevin Walsh on the scene at Citi Field, getting the star of the game just minutes after the game-winning home run from Raul Ibanez. All right, coming up, we have plenty more still to talk about. Jamie Moyer. Haven't even touched on Jamie Moyer yet. We're going to do that. Talk about our standout stars as well. And also, Donovan McNabb signing an extension or signing a new contract for the final 2 years of his contract. We're going to talk about that on Toyota Sports Night. So stay tuned right here on Comcast Sportsnet. We got plenty for you to come. Stay with us.
Now, this guy is a good throw ball hitter trying to point right into the back.
Coming up on Toyota Sports Night after Phillies post-game live, much more on the big matchup in Queens. We're live at the ballpark with more reaction than you'll get anywhere else. Also, the latest on Brian Westbrook's recovery and what's the feel Andy Reid gets from his quarterback regarding his contract situation. Plus, the Sixers work out 2 college stars with local ties. How do they feel their game adapts to the pro level? All that and more on Toyota Sports Night right after Phillies post-game live.